Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota held hostage by the lateness of only Ty Beard. Definitely not me at all. With me, of course, is a special guest for the beginning portion of the show, Mr. Ty Beard. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah. That was a nice book you had there. What was that about?
It was just a reference book. Been hitting the law books really hard,
Yeah, I can tell. So Ty is here in a tradition of the show. If something goes horrifically wrong, we have to open with correcting the mistake. And what happened to your camera, by the way?
Because what happened to our camera? Is it not?
It's tilted up, so like your head is just barely at the bottom. You look like a guillotine accident. No, tilt it down. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Well, no, down more.
Oh God, you're just making this up.
No, down. Why? That's left.
I've got some kind of thing here. Oh Jesus, Nick.
There, yes, right there.
All right.
Okay.
We could have done this in the preliminary thing.
We could have, except somebody was late, and that was me.
Just would be funny,
yeah. But okay, so we had a discussion last night about Trump bucks, this SBA stimulus plan, and of course, as it would happen when lawmakers are moving fast and trying to do things to fix problems that they created by themselves, they changed the rules while we were doing the show.
Yeah. Just, what are you going to do?
So you're on to just kind of clarify the I guess the discrepancy between yesterday and today.
Yeah.
And then anything else we wanted to touch on before I will be delving into a brief that I have heard will potentially drive me off of a bridge.
I haven't heard any howls of rage from Fort Worth, so I wouldn't know. But I know my boys in Fort Worth are breaking it down, as is Amazon Prime. So,
Well, wait a minute. That's an interesting development.
Yes.
Because you told me yesterday that Amazon Prime was no longer on the team.
Well, in highly fluid situations, things change, and when you move quickly, and we were able to find a way that we could basically undo that. So no, she's right back with us.
Is there anything you didn't get wrong yesterday?
I thought my tie was really good. I don't think I was wrong on the tie. I think listen, a good tie will get you through a really rough day.
It will. It will. So Amazon Prime is back at Beard and Harris, and that's good news because I like her.
Well, yeah, basically my life was threatened by about a half a dozen clients. So you have to make a decision when it comes to that. It was you would think all they would just do is withdraw their business and go with her, but no, it was a lot more visceral than that, really.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was kind of
that's well, that's good news. It's good to know that she is servicing clients in a way that,
Yeah, she's really, the clients really do like her. And none of this stuff was driven by anything other than economics. Well, when I solved one of the economic problems, then I was able to resolve the situation.
Yeah. See, usually when a lawyer is fired, the clients actually send extra money to the firm as thank yous.
Yeah.
They're like, oh God, where can we find the crucifix and hammer in the nails ourselves?
Yeah. It's always a fun thing because when lawyers leave firms, there's always that scuffle over, whose clients go with the lawyer and whose don't. And I have a very laissez-faire attitude. If you can take my clients, knock yourself out.
Right.
But and of course, the people I work for, they're going to use whatever lawyer they want to. They don't, regardless of my permission or whatever. So I was really glad we were able to get that resolved. These times are very disruptive. The legal environment is turning into a full-scale Holocaust, and I think we've restructured and are doing some things that are I think going to be going to leave us standing pretty tall, actually. Had some stuff come in today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, so you're like working?
Yes, something's gone horribly wrong. I thought with the self-quarantining and all, I would be at home eating Pop-Tarts, watching movies, and, putting on weight. Well, I guess 1 out of 3 ain't bad. But no, I've been doing a whole lot of things that look a whole lot like work. I'm not sure how that went bad. Oh, by the way, I don't want to forget this. My daughter was of course moved and touched by all the shilling of her book, but she told me to apologize to you that everyone was shilling her book on your show. So if y'all would y'all shill extra hard for her, because I'm a father, and
I will.
We live, we live to embarrass our children. I mean,
I
that
will,
really is one of the great things.
She tried to apologize to me.
She's kind of new to this.
Oh my goodness! I don't accept apologies. I only accept whiskey donations.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll say, well, honey, pay Nick and whiskey, and it'll all be good.
Exactly. But, and guys, let's sell enough copies of Radio Nowhere on Amazon so that it's a good whiskey and not Jack Daniels.
Yeah, and she's got like the intro, the first 3 or 4 chapters of Radio Static up and on Amazon and all that. But anyway, she was like, just tell Nick I didn't have anything to do with that. They just did that. I said, okay, honey, I'll handle it. I'm sure Nick will be fine. So if you would, make an extra special effort to, shill. Because as a father, that's really one of my few pleasures left in life, is embarrassing my children.
Yeah, that's what it's there for.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. So.
Yeah. Well, let's there are 2 chats waiting. Let's do those, and then let's get into the rule thing, and then I'll kick you off as soon as it's prudent.
I'm at your disposal.
Okay, so Endless End 2646 says, "Hi, Nick and Ty. Quick Texas law question. Is there any legal way to sell liquor and daiquiris in a drive-through there? It's legal in Louisiana, and was thinking of possibly trying my luck in Aransas/Rockport when I move out that way." I think they used to have the drive-through liquor stores in Texas, and now
they did. The TACB website has really pretty clear and straightforward guidelines and guidance on how to get a liquor license and all that.
Well, Texas used to have the same rule that New Orleans has, where if it's in a glass, like you can, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think, do they still have that? But they used to have it where you could actually buy a proper alcoholic beverage, so long as it was in a glass, not a bottle. Though.
Yeah. Well, you can't have bottles; they're so tacky. I don't really know. I mean, you always hear anecdotally about that, but there's none around here. Of course,
Yeah, the drive.
Tyler's damp.
Yeah,
we're not dry exactly, but
you guys got to upgrade to moist.
I'd say we're at moist,
Yeah. No, I've heard of drive-through liquor stores in Texas, but what they do is they put the liquor in the trunk of the car or some other legal capacity thing. But I know in New Orleans you used to be able to buy an alcoholic beverage at a drive-through bar and drive around drinking it. It was fine as long as you weren't intoxicated.
Okay, I just did a search and Google filled it in. Drive-through liquor store near me, Texas. So, according to Google Maps, yes, there's Beer to Go drive-through in Fort Worth. There's a Wee Willie's drive-through liquor distributor in the Dallas area. So yeah, apparently you can do it. You'll need to get a liquor license and go through all that process. But also Walmart, I know when they deliver groceries, they'll bring booze to you. You just have to be of age to accept it.
But I don't think you can. This person said liquor/daiquiris, which to me, if you're selling daiquiris, you're selling a beverage.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's legal anymore.
I don't think that's consistent with the open container laws. But I don't know. I'm just kind of.
Because it used to be, the law used to be, if you were not driving under the intoxicated influence, it didn't matter so much if you were actually drinking.
Yeah, that would get you for public intoxication, but that was so I hear. I wouldn't know.
What a backward state you have. We have a specific statute that says there is no such thing as public drunkenness in Minnesota.
We have a negative statute.
We have a negative statute. You cannot be arrested for being intoxicated in public in Minnesota.
Well, I think we need to get our local senators here on that, because that is a gross miscarriage of justice.
It's a simple bill. Really?
Yeah.
That's all of it. This crime don't exist.
Yeah.
You may think that it be, but it don't.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Batgoat says, make him pan to the MoRon's turntable. Where is your turntable? You've got a fancy background there with all sorts of nerd books.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is my home office that I had to put together when I self-quarantined.
What kind of dork sits in front of a shelf full of books?
Yeah. Anyway, no, most of those are military history, actually. My military history library is scattered everywhere. It's, my wife, in a wonderful display of love, allows me to put my World War II books out, even in the living room bookshelves. For some reason, all my Dungeons and Dragons and other type things don't seem to get out there in the living room. I don't know. Yeah. Well,
I guess I see that great military history book Dune. I see the great military strategist Carl Sagan's book.
Yeah, well, there's Thomas Sowell up there.
Another military mastermind.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 Frog God products there. It's an eclectic collection. Actually, when I moved from my other house, my library got thoroughly mixed up, and it's still not completely pulled apart.
Is your daughter planning on doing an audiobook of Radio Nowhere?
I want her to. I even know who I'd like to be the voice actor. I just haven't gotten around to talking to her about it. But that would be. Well, see, here's the thing: the characters, the characters are adolescent. There's a teenager, male and females, and this voice actor can actually do both voice types very well. So
female voice types.
Male voice actor.
Oh, no, I meant could do female voice types.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. Do you do audiobooks at all? Do you listen to audiobooks a lot?
I mean, I've listened to a few, some good, some bad. I try not to.
Yeah, I'm a real rabid consumer of audiobooks. I was one of Audible's charter members, and I have their super secret platinum program where I get 40 audiobooks a year, some ridiculous amount. So I listen to a lot of them. And it's interesting when the actors are when it's a fiction work and they're doing the voices and stuff. A lot of male voice actors can't do soft voices that even vaguely invoke a feminine quality, or it just sounds weird. You know? So, and of course, it's you can't really. I can't, it's not really practical to have multiple voice actors doing different roles. I would think. I mean, I would think that'd be very expensive. But anyway, I'd like to. I've been talking to her about it.
Apparently, you've never heard how much voice actors actually get paid by the hour. It's not that much.
Well, you said it. I didn't.
Have you ever audiobooked Emotional Intelligence 2.0?
Daniel Goleman.
No, Travis Bradbury and Gene Greaves.
No, I haven't.
Oh, a real scholar recommended it to me. Yeah. A very smart individual.
Okay.
like we're talking premium intelligence. Just a brilliant person. I wouldn't pick it up. The audiobook would be 32 minutes.
That brilliant person. I think I know who it is.
Maybe, I don't know. But okay, let's get into the Trump Bucks update.
Yeah.
And then I can God, this document is so long.
Yeah, here it is right here in paper. All right, so what happened is they issued what's called the interim final rules. Basically a lot of these kind of legislation packages will have, this is the law, do this, do that, and the other thing, and they do all this other stuff as the secretary shall determine.
Right.
And so that the instructions are called rules or regulations or stuff like that. Now the interesting thing is they're not supposed to. The regulations are not supposed to contradict the law. This one does, very very clearly in some places, but.
Was it written by the IRS? That would explain it.
No. This is the SBA. I think stays as far away from that. I imagine all the agencies stay away from the IRS. They're probably radioactive or something. But anyway, so they issued these interim rules last night, and they are effective now, although they're interim, which means they're going to finalize them later. Probably by the time they finalize them, the program will be over. That deal.
Right.
But quite a few things changed from what we were talking about last night. Some of it are minor things, some of them not so minor. So I kind of
let's get to the main things that really didn't change.
Yeah.
If you are self-employed or an independent contractor, which I think that's going to be what applies to most of the people in this audience. If you're a self-employed or sole proprietor, small business owner where it's just you, or you're an independent contractor who makes your 1099 income, you qualify basically for the program. Like, that has not changed.
Yeah. When I'm saying there are major changes, what I meant were just detail, like the interest rate. Okay, the interest rate has bounced from 4%, then it was 0.5% yesterday, and now it's finalized at 1%. The term of the loan, that's really kind of distressing. It was 10 years. The statute said the loan could be up to 10 years, and of course everybody just assumed it would be 10 years.
Right.
It's 2 years.
Oh, it's 2 years.
Yeah. That's I mean.
That's a steeper repayment plan.
It really is. Now, there's no repayment required for 6 months, but then all of a sudden you've got, the entire amount over an 18-month period. My guess is they'll have to offer, payout period increases and that kind of thing, deferments and so forth. Not all businesses qualify. They and again, this is some stuff that's not supported by the statutory language, but they glommed on to one of the the SBA's generalized category of businesses that they won't loan money to. Stuff that
strip clubs.
Prurient things, but some surprising things that I didn't even know about. Financial businesses, investment folks.
Oh,
like that. Yeah, that was surprising.
That's rough, because a lot of those.
Let me tell you, I broke out the old microscope and started looking for, make sure law firms are still. But I know that America will be happy to know that the lawyers are going to get paid. So
yeah. Don't worry. If there's money on the table, the lawyers in Congress look out for the rest of us.
Justice can't be done if the lawyers don't get paid. So y'all can all breathe a sigh of relief out there. Yes, we're going to get ours. But gambling, life insurance companies of all things. Now, I doubt seriously there are very many life insurances companies that would qualify as small businesses, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, what about independent life insurance producers?
I don't know.
Because I know several guys who they produce life or fire and casualty. Yeah. Is it just life specifically?
Well, that's one of the categories that's actually carved out. Let me pull up that list actually. If I could get my fingers on it. So, you know what? Hold on. I printed it out on paper.
You printed out? Okay.
Printed it out on paper. Yes.
I've never even heard of paper.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I got to get my battery operated glasses here so I can read. Yeah. So what businesses are ineligible? This is 13 CFR Chapter 1. Nonprofits. Now, that's an exception because the statute specifically allows nonprofits. So
right.
Financial businesses primarily engaged in the business of lending, such as banks, finance companies, and factors. Pawn shops, although engaged in lending, may qualify.
Okay.
Passive businesses owned by developers and landlords that do not actively use or occupy the assets acquired or improved with the loan proceeds.
Well, they don't want them to make a huge. I think they don't want them to borrow $10 million and then lend it out immediately.
Yeah, right.
At 6%.
Yeah, I'm getting it for one. Yeah. Life insurance companies. So I don't think that affects life insurance agents.
No, that'd be like Prudential, Hartford, Allstate. Those companies likely aren't going to qualify anyway. For most of them are going to be way bigger than 500 employees.
Business located in a foreign country, but business in the U.S. owned by aliens may qualify. Now, that's in this language about which businesses are excluded, so don't take that last part as part of the PPP. Pyramid sale distribution plans, so no Amway. Businesses located in a foreign country. Businesses deriving more than a third of their gross annual revenue from legal gambling.
What about illegal gambling?
Businesses engaged in any illegal activities. so your bootleggers are not going to be, and your drug dealers aren't going to be able to get that. Private clubs and businesses which limit the number of memberships for reasons other than capacity.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And blah blah. There's
golf courses.
Yeah, right. Country clubs,
like exclusive country clubs.
Yeah, or even non-exclusive. If they limit membership for any other reason, then they don't have enough room in the building.
Wow.
Businesses principally engaged in teaching, instructing, counseling, or indoctrinating religion or religious beliefs.
Ooh.
Consumer and marketing cooperatives, loan packagers earning more than 1/3 of their gross annual revenue from packaging SBA loans. I can kind of see that. That would be.
Well, and these guidelines, especially on the lending ones, are pretty interesting because they don't want you to take an SBA loan in general outside of this program to take government guaranteed and subsidized money to lend to someone else at a high rate. Like that just
that would be that's bad press.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Businesses which, number one, present live performances of a prurient sexual nature. Is there any sexual nature that's not prurient? I'm just curious.
There is. The entire porn industry is non-prurient.
Really?
Well, because obscenity, which is bannable speech, is defined as that speech which appeals only to the prurient interest.
Okay.
So to not be obscene, and this is why we have the great plot line of pizza delivery guy arrives. To not be obscene, the artistic integrity of the piece must outweigh the prurient interest, which would mean it's not the primary focus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so, but I guess stripping doesn't have a story. Maybe that's the case. Maybe you got to role play that one out a little bit better.
I don't know. Businesses that derive directly or indirectly more than de minimis gross revenue through the sale of products or services or the presentation of any depictions or displays of a prurient sexual nature. And, there's more stuff about sex in here than there's illegal businesses and gambling and all that. Well, what are you going to do? Unless waived by the SBA,
why?
Various.
But what if? Never mind. What if you're just a hostess? An independent contractor hostess who primarily makes tips.
I don't say. I think he or she. There I go being sexist. I think probably it'd work. So anyway, but see, there was none of this stuff. I mean, that's all new stuff. So not all businesses qualify. The affiliate rules still haven't been finalized, and that's really kind of a problem for a lot of companies because affiliates are companies owned by the same people. Okay.
Right.
Like for example, I have multiple. I'm the owner or a part owner of multiple entities. Well, the loan setup envisions a single owner or just a small number of owners.
Oh my gosh, Ty!
What?
I didn't even realize it. The e-girls don't get their government checks. The e-thoughts don't qualify. Your premium Snapchat income don't count.
No.
Be gone, thought.
Did you ever see Eddie Murphy's Saturday Night Live? He came back on to Saturday Night Live, and about 3 or 4 months ago. But he did an old character he used to do in the early '80s called Velvet Jones, and it was the Velvet Jones School of Technology, and it's like you can own $1,500 a week at your house and never have to leave your bedroom. Order my book. I want to be a hoe. And so they move him forward to today, and he's on Black Jeopardy, and Kenan Thompson was just hysterical. He can't say, Mr. Jones, the internet's going to be mad at us if you keep using that word. Please stop referring to hoes.
Yeah.
And so and one of his books was, how to be an Instagram hoe. He goes, have you ever heard of Me Too? He goes, Yeah, you like hoes too.
Oh
Anyway,
God.
for anybody, I recommend that whole routine. He also did Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, and I got to say to my daughter, see, Saturday Night Live used to be that funny all the time. Just,
Yeah.
So anyway, the affiliate rules though, that's a problem for companies that have like private equity investors or just lots and lots of investors. Our own, a particular software company that I'm involved with, I don't know if we'll qualify. So that's a curious thing to leave wide open.
Yeah.
Um, the big one, the big thing that I said last night, that independent contractors, if you made payments to independent contractors, you could add that to your payroll and count that for your loan eligibility and all that. They just said, no, you can't do that. And that is completely not supported at all. The statute flatly says you can.
Right.
So but it's an interesting problem. You and I talked about this on the text. Is who do you sue? There's no legal right to get the loan. That's the thing.
Right.
There's nothing in the statute that says you have a right to it. And so I'm just sitting there, just kind of scratching my head, going, how do you enforce this? I am not at all suggesting that anybody do anything but answer those questions in an application honestly. But I suppose one way this would be relevant would be, let's say that you did count your independent contractors and they later came back and tried to bust you for fraud.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That would
Yeah,
be your defense in a fraud suit, would be to point to the statute, and they would say, "Well, the CFR says this," and you'd say,
I don't
"Well,
give a shit.
yeah,
CSR
this is the law. The law says
Yeah.
this, and then that's up to the judge." You don't want to be in that spot though, so don't defraud anybody.
No. Listen, guys, y'all are dealing with. All kidding aside, you're dealing with FDIC insured banks. And the federal government. The criminal consequences are way out of proportion to the benefit. So, but as you and I have talked in the past, it pisses me off whenever regulatory agencies do that. That's the regulatory state that a lot of us whine about.
Right.
Because rather than writing the laws the way they ought to be written and complete, Congress has a bad habit of saying, do this, that, and the other thing, and then anything else that the secretary may want. But that statute does not give the secretary that power. I'm going back through it, but it is 800 pages of absolute, it's bad, even by our standards. So this is interesting. They are specifically saying reduced verifications to the bank. Just they're telling the bank in these guidance, the borrower's certificates are made, and all that is the borrower says, yep, I need the money because of economic reasons, and I'm only going to use it for these purposes, and I'm not lying on the application. Adequate payroll and salary information has been provided. Well, like, for example, W-2s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then any other thing required by the Bank Secrecy Act or Money Laundering Act. I was on the phone for an hour with a client tonight while he is trying to apply. His bank's actually live. And they're wanting tax returns for the company, tax returns for him. And I mean, of course, and this guy's an engineer, so he's no dummy. And it took him an hour to get through this simple application form. And I'm sitting here going, you've got to be kidding me. There's nothing on the tax return that matters.
Right.
In this loan. But you see, they involved banks.
Even though they're telling banks, basically, we're going to cover you.
The banks, the banks were getting all pissy about this, and then the SBA busted them and said, "No, stop it." Well, we have liability. No, you don't. This guidance reiterates that, but it's in the statute. So because banks are involved, there's a real good chance this thing's going to turn into a fiasco.
Well, I contacted a bank today, Bank of America. Bank of America is
live, supposedly.
They're live, but they're only taking applications from people who had an existing business bank account and a business line of credit on February 15th of 2020.
Business line of credit.
Yes, you had to have a business checking account and a business line of credit pre-existing.
Wow. So basically, B of A is limiting this to just a tiny percentage of their business customers.
Yeah, well, I think what B of A is doing is saying, we've already checked these people for credit worthiness. right?
Yeah.
Like we've checked their creditworthiness.
Yeah.
We've given them a revolving line.
Yeah.
Now,
All right. So B of A is not live then. They're playing games.
Now I have heard that that B of A specifically has 2 more phases of rollout that will expand the bubble. The question is, will the program be out of money by the time they implement those phases?
I'll tell you what, Chase, and again, I'm basically satisfied with banking at Chase, but Chase is starting to really piss me off because they're not live. In fact, now this is kind of crappy. They had a thing, go ahead and apply online now, and so I'm okay, fine. So I'm, your name of your company, your TIN, all that kind of crap. You hit click and put the information that you think you'd need to put in. And you hit a button that says, "Thank you. A Chase representative will be in touch with you." And I'm going, "Oh, you son."
you just put yourself on like 26 call lists.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is,
8 months from now, some guy named Eric is going to call you and he's going to be like, hello,
well, fortunately,
sir?
I'm a commercial customer, so now I've actually got a banker assigned to me. But the point is, though, they were trying to offer me a pacifier. They're trying to pretend like they had it, and it's like, guys, that doesn't really do anything but enrage me.
Yeah.
So,
Wells Fargo is similarly not live.
Yeah,
Wells Fargo's requirements are less. You just had to have an existing. Wells Fargo's requirements are you had to have a business banking account by February 15th, 2020, and you have to be enrolled in their online business banking. Now, it didn't say that you had to be enrolled by a specific time, just that you have to be. So I assume they'll be happy to enroll you in online banking.
They may be filling this through their online portal, right?
They are.
You go and
you don't have to go into a Wells Fargo bank.
Yeah,
because they don't trust Wells Fargo frontline employees. I'm just going to say that.
No. Well, and not with business owners.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, Banks of America who are watching Nick's show, and I know you all do. You don't want 28 million pissed off business owners coming to your branches, because we will bring pitchforks and torches and shotguns. Give us our money, please. So it's going to be, once again, we have an interesting thing going on where, and I don't think there's any kind of political sabotage or anything, but the bank industry was ideally suited to do this because they can fulfill, they're set up to fill. But of course, they're acting like banks. And I swear to God, most of the time, banks seem to be in the business of not loaning money. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this happens. I suspect that if the president wakes up Monday morning and all the nation's major banks are still effectively not live, his foot is going to go down somebody's neck.
Well, and considering the U.S. government may still own significant shares in many of the banking institutions.
Well, the executive branch has a staggering amount of regulatory oversight of banks.
Well, but after 2008, they bought. They just did a commercial or a residential mortgage bailout, so to speak, as well. They cut the interest rate, and they bought a lot of mortgage-backed securities.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. I wouldn't want an angry Manhattan real estate developer with regulatory oversight of my business to know my name or because he's going to be see that we in Texas don't bother with the pitchforks or the torches. We have guns and tactical flashlights, arose by any other name. So sorry, I'm usurping your chat stuff, but I just caught my eye.
Fine.
Yeah. Fine. So anyway, so that was so. And again, this is one bank that was doing this, but I'm getting reports of others, and all I know is my client was very unhappy, and his banker will hear from him in the morning. Would you like to be the banker in charge of commercial lending tomorrow morning?
I knew that guy at Wells Fargo, and I'm glad it would be him. How's that for wording?
Well, he must have really, really done something to you, because I wouldn't wish that on too many people. Oh, there are some people I'd wish it on. The last thing was more of a clarification. I believe the statute actually said this, but it said that it said that independent contractors and sole proprietors are going to start April 10th. And I don't remember, did we cover this last night, that the statute seemed to be ambiguous about it? It said that sole proprietors could do it on the 3rd, but independent contractors could do it on the 10th. It's like sole proprietors and independent contracts are the same thing.
Now, see, that's weird because I know one. I know a guy. No, technically he's an LLC. So I guess
right. So
he was able to file today.
They're favoring entities right now, and as long as there's sufficient money in the program, it's not going to be a problem. But if money runs out, say next week, before the really small business owners get a crack at it, it's going to be the optics are just going to be disastrous. The good news, guys, is that to fully fund this program for every small business in America, you'd only, put that in quotes, you really would only need another $300 billion. And I'm not saying that is a lot of money, but at the same time, it's less than about 8% or 7% of our entire annual budget. So it's not,
yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I mean, since I'm here, because I've been thinking a lot about this, is, I like the goal of the plan, which is to put money in businesses' hands and then in people's hands. I don't like the fact. Oh, there was one more thing. Sorry, let me back up. The loan forgiveness is now going to be limited in scope. You can only 25% of the payments can be done to non-payroll items. That's going to pretty dramatically reduce the loan forgiveness aspect of this.
Sure.
And when you combine that with a very short payback period, it
really is designed to make payroll.
Yeah, it is. But the problem is that's stupid, because it doesn't do me or the economy. I'm just saying, if I'm a business owner, it doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do the economy any good for me to be able to make payroll for 2 months if I can't actually operate my company, if I can't,
right.
Buy raw materials, if I can't, advertise, all those things that go into running a business. I mean, simply, if all the business owners are going to be, if all we're doing is borrowing money to replace the welfare system, that I feel a little bit used on that point. So anyway, that segues into my biggest concern about this whole program, and that is, 2 months is fine, but I don't think anybody is thinking that this crisis is going to be over in 2 months.
Man, I hope it's over in 2 months. I got stuff to do this year.
Oh, don't get me started. I agree. I mean, I'm not even going to go to the Star Trek sets with Vic in April. So, I mean, my life has been completely ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
you're a
what
nerd.
I am well, I couldn't keep it. I couldn't keep it a secret forever, I suppose. But really, I mean, seriously, what's going to happen in 2 months if we've got to restart the economy, or in 2 months, the businesses are going to be in worse shape than they are now. Only they're going to owe the government a bunch of money.
If we're not up in 2 months, we are looking at a long-term depression. That will be.
The president's just going to have to come out and say, I don't care what the governors are saying. Get back to work.
Yeah, we just can't. We won't be able to do it.
No.
Look, what is it? What's my line from Casino? I think it is. When the bosses get called into court, look, sick or no fucking sick, people are going to get clipped.
Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's going to be what happens. It'll be sick or no sick. You're going to have to put people to work.
Well, I read an article about what Singapore is doing. And, Singapore is a city-state, basically, but it's denser than any large city in the world except Monaco. And it's more or less kind of sort of similar to size to Los Angeles. And it's got like 1/20th the number of coronavirus cases and deaths and so forth. It may not even be that high. Oh, that's not a nerd date. Good grief.
What?
Sorry your nerd date got ruined, Ty.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is, though.
Oh, come on. No, it's not.
You're right. It's like a nerd honeymoon.
Anyway, moving right along in a more serious vein. Uh, but yeah, but anyway, so Singapore, what they're doing is they basically started looking at the mortality curves, and they said, okay, if you're over 65 or you have comorbidity issues, you have to self quarantine. All right. Everybody else, social distancing, workplace things like, you got to check your temperature when you get to work and when you leave. There's temperature sensors out there, and all that kind of stuff. Anybody that gets coronavirus, they verify who that person's been in contact with, and they are required to self quarantine, and they're controlling this very, very well, without destroying their economy. So, this panic and freaking out and stuff is getting just too difficult. I don't think my opinion. If I'm reading the president correctly, one of these days he's just going to say, enough of that, and back to work.
Yeah,
and of course the governors are going to screech and squawk, but you guys that live in blue states, your governors are destroying your states just to try to damage the president. It's not going to work, which is, forget the asininity of the goal, but it's not going to work. The president's approval numbers are higher than they've ever been.
Does your internet have coronavirus?
No.
We glitched out and you desynced, the audio desynced from the video completely. It was wild.
Really? Well, everything's plugged in. Is it okay now? Or
no, everything, like your audio comes through. It's just desynced from the video. It's weird. Why don't you, if you just hang up and click the link one more time, let's just refresh the connection real quick because it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it either. So I'll be right back.
So he'll be right back in. I have faith in Ty to return. Ty. There we go. You're back now. Let me get you back on screen.
It's not anything I would have done with my.
No. I think there was a lag thing. I remember when it happened, but then suddenly you looked like a Godzilla movie because words were coming out. But yeah, exactly. Thank you. That was racist.
Yeah. Although I'm pretty sure literally everything at this point is racist.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that I think we're at that place now where all are racists. Okay, what happened to the chat? I must have shut that down too inadvertently. Give me just a second. All right, there's the chat.
Ty trying to suppress the speech of the chat. What kind of lawyer are you?
Only because of my innate inability to operate basic equipment.
Goodness.
And I used to be a computer programmer in my youth.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll believe that. That was when computers were made out of Lincoln Logs and gum.
Well, we had vacuum tubes. It was the radiation from the vacuum tube that was always a problem. But so anyway, like I said, this thing, I'm going to be very curious. Are they actually going to be able to implement it? Because I was trying to be positive and say, well, banks are set up to provide these loans. They're set up to do all that. It'll be okay because even a banker can read, you are not liable. Just get the money out. Even a banker can do that. But nope. No.
They've got to find some way to tack on a service fee.
Well, the thing is, they're getting 5%. This is $15 billion that are going to the bank industry. So they're not.
That's a Thursday of overdraft charges.
Well, I understand, but they should have just not participated. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see if they can pull their thumb out and actually get something done. We'll see if it works.
Hey, name 3 programming languages.
Well, there's Fortran.
Okay.
There's COBOL.
What else, sir?
Pascal.
Okay, let's name 3 that we don't need a Rosetta Stone for.
Well, I kind of stopped when C came along. C was like Pascal, but it wasn't. So
I knew. I'm like, he's gonna say Fortran and COBOL, and then I didn't know what your third was gonna be, and you picked Pascal. Good Lord.
Well, Yeah, when I was a kid, they didn't auto number the lines. we had to manually number the lines. We liked it. You know, so a while back I bought. Have I told you my typewriter story?
You told me. I don't know if you told the chat.
Well, so I saw an interesting little documentary on typewriters. I thought it was kind of cool. So I decided to buy a typewriter, because why not? And I found this mid 1980s IBM. It was actually the model that would replace the Selectric if typewriters hadn't become completely obsolete. But anyway, it was a big honking thing. I'll have to get you a picture of it or something.
Yeah.
And it had the big old IBM keyboard, but it had a parallel port. The pack that you could plug to your computer, so it could actually be a primitive thing. So I call my IT guy in, who is my best friend, who's a little bit older than I am. So we go all the way back, only he still knows how to program. And I said, "Can you hook this up to my PC?" He goes, "A parallel port? No, your PC." I said, "Well, sure, it's got one of them ports in the back." Of course, I'm hassling him. Well, I said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, if you can't do it, I understand." Well, of course, immediately, well, you can't do it. So he actually got that thing hooked up through a USB cable adapter to my
parallel
PC,
port.
to a parallel port on this printer. So we turned the thing on, and of course, he's going, "What? Why are we doing this?" And I'm like, "That just stop. Don't worry about it." So I fire this thing up, and turns out Windows has an ASCII printer driver. Right, so you can actually print stuff to the typewriter,
Nice.
but it won't do underlining or formatting or all that. Well, I was bored, so I go and I find an old version of WordStar. I mean, you remember, a DOS word processor.
This is the oldest story I've ever heard, and I was reading the Bible earlier tonight.
Okay. But so I fire WordStar up in DOS, okay, and I'm looking at that and said, I don't even know how to open a file. I mean, it was just a dark screen with some lines. Anyway, I jacked with that thing for, I don't know, about an hour, and I went, oh, right, this is why I liked windowing operating systems. I mean, so, when people say we had computers in the old days, only in the most technical sense of the word, because they look nothing, I mean, the kids today have no idea how usable their computers are.
DOS weeded out the weak. That's what it did.
It sure did.
It kept PC Master Race pure. Now we've got these. Now we got these kids with their Xboxes and their PlayStations coming out. Their Playboxes and their X stations coming out.
Diluting the gene pool, weakening the race. I mean, yeah. Well, the thing about DOS was, it really wasn't that hard to learn, but you had to kind of you adjust your mind. But once you knew it, you could sit down with a computer and go, like that, just crank out and hit stuff, and stuff would happen on the screen. It made you look badass. Well, in a computer nerd kind of way, but it was very impressive to people, like your boss and stuff. Type stuff and hit and do things.
Yeah.
But God, it was hard. But just, trying to go back to that after 20 years or 25 years, I was like, oh my goodness, that's why. Yeah. So but now I can type stuff on my typewriter through an ASCII printer driver. And,
good. You could have just typed it on the keyboard that you have.
Well, yeah. Listen, it's the journey. It's not the destination. It's the getting there that's important.
Well, I have a couple chats.
Sure.
To go through, and then we'll kick you off, and I'll get into reading this stupid document.
And I will not watch because I just, life is too short.
You don't want to.
No.
Broly the Mighty says, "Hey guys, I have a couple friends who are on SSI, not SSDI or SSA, who have extreme cognitive delay. They couldn't file a simple tax return if they tried. Did they have to fill one out, or do they need to fix it at the IRS?" I have no idea.
I don't either, but my guess is you call, try to get an appointment or call the IRS's your local IRS office, and there's what happens is there's an 800 number you call in, and they'll connect you up or whatever, or you can just call the main IRS number you'll be on hold for a long time because they're suffering through this too. But
Yeah.
ask them. There's got to be an impaired taxpayer program. Something. Maybe just Google, IRS impaired taxpayer. Something like cognitively impaired taxpayer.
Spectre says they're on some type of SSI, so it will be direct deposited. Now, I did see that. I just didn't know the extent of it.
Doesn't SSI with impaired people,
well, that would be SSDI that I think you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, social disability, yeah.
And he said they're not on SSDI, but I think they're going to, I think any of that stuff, they've already got the info. They already know the income amounts that these people have. They're probably just going to do it.
Well, SSDI is disability.
Right.
SSI would be appropriate for someone that's just cognitively impaired. The SSI office might be able to help you too.
Yeah, and the answer, I think the long and short answer to this is if the government is already making payments to you, they know how to get payments to you, and they'll just do it. I think the reason they went with the tax return is it's the most verifiable way to have a recent address or direct deposit place for them to kick you out either a check or deposit, however they end up doing it. I mean,
yeah. Well, we'll see how well that program works too.
Oh, it's going to be great. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Nothing
getting
better.
The IRS to send you a check in a hurry. Yeah.
I can't even get the IRS to send me things to my P.O. box. They keep trying to send me things to my home address, where I have never received a single piece of mail in my entire life.
But somehow.
And I'm like, anyway, they're great.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
I deal with the IRS frequently in a lot of my legal activities, and all I can say is I generally actually get along fine with them. I really haven't had too many times that they were unreasonable, but they really are like a blind, stupid elephant that you're trapped in a very small room with.
Yeah.
And even though they may not maliciously want to kill you, they can stomp on you just inadvertently, and it still hurts the same.
Exactly. They're weird. Andrew Bin says, Ty, did you ever imagine yourself talking about porn or stripping to thousands of degenerates on YouTube?
That I got to say that's a no. No, I didn't really. I also talked about Amway though. I mean, that's something.
What? Oh goodness. Sorry, someone sent me something. I've been invited to watch apparently a live stream of the conference of the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints. So
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know that I'll be spending my time doing that, but maybe it'd be worth it. Jake CB says, are political NGOs excluded from the PPP, or did the Democrats get another income source?
501c3 charitable organizations are allowed to get it.
Now, but aren't political ones C4? Aren't those 501c4?
Right. I'm kind of musing through it. Let me see. See if that list actually has. There was a nonprofit. I think the deal is those NGOs are nonprofits.
Yeah.
Right. So I would think you'd fall back to the general rule, except as specifically specifically varied from in these regulations. I think these regulations were pretty explicit that it was charitable 501 charitable organizations. So I don't know. I don't think NGOs get it, and I can't imagine the political fallout if that were the case. Because this is designed. This thing is designed for American workers.
Right.
And,
look, people work at NGOs too, Ty.
Again, work in the most technical sense of the word. Yeah. But,
let's see. Phoenix Aram says, hey, Nick and Ty, I wanted to check in and see if you'd get Larry Lawton on your show, America's Biggest Jewel Thief. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I don't know how to get him.
Not that I want to steal jewels, but I sure would like to know how it's done.
I think he's retired now, and he's a security consultant, if I remember correctly. And wanted to pick yours and Ty's brain on Vice's Dark Side of the Rings documentary on Chris Benoit. That's a wrestler. I've never watched it though. I don't.
I no knowledge of any of that.
Sorry. I have no idea about it, buddy. I'm not a huge wrestling fan. Tucker says, so did I hear? Oh, wait. Let me go back. Phoenix Arm had a follow-up chat that said, also, can finally catch one of your streams. Caught COVID being an essential worker. Stay safe and healthy, gents. Oh, buddy. Don't cough
COVID?
on me.
Jeez, man.
Don't cough on anyone and live through it. Those are my two recommendations.
You get to where you can't breathe, get your butt to a hospital.
Yeah, there you go. Tucker says, so did I hear this right? Landlords are excluded from the program and landlords are prevented from filing evictions and commercial mortgages aren't stopped. A whole lot of small landlords stand to lose a lot of property.
I'm not seeing that in the Paycheck Protection Program stuff, but because that's what I've been focused on this week. There are other things out there. I don't know. It can't work that way very long. I mean,
right. I think landlords are excluded from the residential mortgage furlough, for lack of a better word, where a lot of the banks have agreed to extend the notes of residential mortgages for a couple months.
Yeah. Passive businesses owned by developers and landlords that do not actively use or occupy the assets acquired that are acquired or improved with the loan proceeds.
Okay. So
that would, if that's what he's talking about, that's I bought a piece of property at an empty building for investment purpose and I planning to flip it. I don't think that would apply to. I have an office building and I'm renting it to tenants.
Right.
But
Yeah. Only way to know would be to apply. Frankly.
Yeah. And that's, it's since I haven't actually with my own eyes seen an application. And every lender is going to have a different application. There doesn't seem to be a lot of standardization. At least I hope not, because if every single application is going to have the kind of require the same documentary backup, this thing's going to slow to a crawl. They're not going to be able to actually review all that crap anyway. I mean, that's
why the government's guaranteeing everything and saying minimal credit inquiry.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think the banks were caught flat-footed. They haven't been able to do it, and so they're just making up their supposed fear of liability because the statute's crystal clear. They're just not liable. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you still need to put in the statute in giant, 50-point type. Get the money out, you idiots.
Planet Toeboard TV says, hey, Nick, wife and I tremendously appreciate the show. Solo game dev on Savage, the Shard of Gosen, a retro action platformer RPG with an old school sword and sorcery vibe on Steam. Where can I send you and Ty keys? If you send them both to me, I'll make sure Ty gets one. Yeah. Just send it to Rekieta.
And if you would tell me what a key is.
It's a product activation key for Steam. The reason I said send them both to me is he's literally going to need like an infographic to learn how to download and operate Steam. But I'll help him.
I ask myself every day what I've done to deserve you.
Imagine a computer program from 1961 operating Steam. That's what we're.
little deep.
Yeah. Oh, what a key is it's actually a sheet of rigid cardboard with several holes punched in it in a specific pattern.
Okay, so
and
it's like
you drive down to your local university and you walk up to the
card feeder.
Yeah, the card feeder. That student worker, and he will plug it in for you. And then the tape reader on the other end of the warehouse will grab the tape and bring back your output.
You're laughing about that, but in the mid '80s, when I took computer science classes at University of Texas at Tyler in Texas, they just weren't buying into this whole personal computer revolution thing.
Yeah.
And so you had to, they bought time on a computer called Wilbur, as a giant IBM mainframe at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And you had all these different, you could input through a tape drive or through a keyboard, but they had a key punch reader from the 1960s. And I mean, even in '85, that was obsolete. And I would do my programs on punch cards just because I could, until the day came that I stumbled and my box of punch cards went out on the floor.
Go to bed, lady.
That was the end of that. Supposedly, you could put them in the sorter and they would figure it all out. But that was the end of that. But, yeah.
God, I have a law cat here. My
Hey.
The baby woke up and let a law cat into my office. Get out. All
yeah,
right.
my law cats have been excluded. They've been especially needy lately.
Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left, and we got to get through these so I can get into the document. Blaine 20 says the German-owned RCGS Resolute cruise ship was fired upon and rammed by a Venezuelan Navy ship. The former was reinforced with steel plates for iceberg. The latter sank. Yeah, we were talking about that last night. Just great.
I know.
Okay, Double
Not
T.
21st century I was looking for, but you know.
Double T sent the number 10 load quote asterisk quote comma 8 comma 1. I think that's for you. I think that's some old school programming language.
Say it again.
10 load asterisk 8 1. Maybe that's to open a new file.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a basic. I think it's a basic command. I think.
Here we go. Here's Lawcat.
Oh,
hello.
What a cute kitty.
Yeah. Don't look at me like that. Goodness gracious. Am I Alinity? Do I just throw it? No. Get out of here. Good kitty. Go.
I don't know if I passed the test. I believe that's a basic command to open up to open up a file, an array, or but file, whatever.
So there you go. Raven Scarata says.
Oh wait.
What?
Wait. No, it's something else.
Blaine saying Commodore 64.
Well, VIC 20. I had a VIC 20, which is actually pre-Commodore 64. Okay, why did I do this to myself?
Raven Scarata says, so whatever happened with MoRon's and Lemon Boy's fee complaint? Last I heard, the court asked them something and they didn't reply, or what's up with that? No, it's in here. It's in this document tonight that we're going through. Fox McCloud says, let's say a big media company decides to copyright strike your parody, but you don't have the money to fight it out in court. What's the legality of someone wanting to sue the company on your behalf? I don't know if you can assign the rights to a copyright claim to someone else. Maybe.
I mean, you can sign just about anything else.
Yeah.
I would say this: if my read of the legal economy out there is correct, don't worry about it. Wait about 3 months, and you'll be able to hire lawyers literally for cheese. I mean,
yeah. There may be some more. You may see more contingency work coming out soon.
Yeah, a lot more. Because I mean, it's turning into something.
But I mean, your counter notification, if it's a DMCA, your counter notification, that's a free process, or you can pay a lawyer a small fee to help out with that, and usually that'll take care of those issues. But it's hard to say. Sharon Young,
I installed YouTube on a very nice compact disc. Thank you.
Sharon Young says, hey, Ty, does this resemble the situation with Joseph, Egypt, and the 7 years of famine, where Egypt ended up taking ownership of most of the population and economy?
No. I mean, look, the economy is still operating. I mean, it's in low gear, but it's operating. And there's some interesting problems out there. A manufacturing client of mine who's in the food industry, they're receiving massive amounts of orders. It's from an order perspective, business never been so good, but because of the regulations on social distancing and stuff, they can't produce the food products.
Right.
I mean, how do you social distance in a hallway? In a normal just hallway, stuff like that.
Normally, I can't spray paint people away from me fast enough. Like at a Walmart, and like, get back.
Yeah.
Stay back. Oh,
God. Yeah, and so we've got to do something. We can't just sit hunkered down, because eventually we're going to run out of stuff. And I don't mean money, I mean stuff. If you don't have stuff to buy, then money is nothing more than pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And damaging manufacturers like that, requiring hobbling their production lines, is bad. So I don't know, but it's not going to be like anything like that. Eventually, we're going to get tired of it as a people, and we're just going to start.
There will be a trade-off point where prolonging the shutdown jeopardizes the political careers of too many people.
Well, my own opinion is if Trump's ratings continue to skyrocket, the blue state governors are gonna actually start doing their job and stop trying to influence a national election. And guys, I got some bad news for you. His ratings are going to continue to go up because he's the executive. That in a disaster like this, that's what happens. You know, Bush's ratings went through the roof. It was only after Katrina that the Democrats were able to nail him on that.
Yeah. Chris Gonzalez says, I owe you guys a bit of thanks. I have to wait till the 10th to file, but 100% would not have known about the help for small business owners without yesterday's show.
Hey.
So you are welcome, Chris.
You're welcome.
And the Texan 83, this is the last one before we say goodbye to Ty, says, hey, Nick, I'm DMing you a picture. You pull that up for Ty to see and give me his opinion. What you DMing me where? Only if it's quick.
Are you in that big of a hurry to get into that?
Well,
thing?
I don't want to be here forever.
Yeah, you probably just want to draw the stinger and get it over with.
Yeah, you know? It sounds terrible. So, let's see. Oh, and I just got a random drive by whatchamacallit message that says Ty Beard sounds great. What an upgrade. So that's fantastic.
Cool.
Oh, here it is. Texan 83 sent it to me.
Yeah, well, I'm now using a desktop computer that's maybe not quite as crappy as my iPad. So, you know.
Oh God, open image tab. Can I? Thank you. All right, I'm going to show this to you. What was his? Let me read his exact thing. Can you pull that up for Ty to see and give me his opinion? Cheers. Okay, I'm going to share this screen with you real quick so you can see it. It's a pen.
It's a fountain pen.
It is.
Cool. I mean, it's cool looking.
I don't know. It says
I do have a few fountain pens.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Are you like a fountain pen nerd or something?
No, I'm not. I just kind of like to use them sometimes. It makes writing kind of fun. I mean, that's not my standard. So what was I supposed to react to? I guess
it said give him your opinion.
Oh, it's a very nice looking pen. Very, very classic.
There you go. Well, I hope that answers your question, the Texan 83.
Yeah, it's a fountain pen nerd. I'm not a fountain pen nerd. I do have a few fountain pens, and I have been known to use them. But right now, I just use a normal, like this, just one of these pens.
Sure. So, actually, I believe you have a feather quill.
I've always wanted to actually use one.
Oh, did he make that pen?
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I know he does. The Texan 83. He's a Texan transplant to Australia.
Okay,
I know he makes stuff. Yeah,
that's a good looking pen. I just happened to pick this up on my desk. I emptied my pockets, but this is a cool thing. One of my employees gave me this a while back. This is a John Wayne pocket knife. So
yeah, mine is carbon steel.
Yeah, well, but mine's got John Wayne on it, so I think I win.
Mine went in John Wayne.
Oh, you crazy kids with
New Zealand, not Australia. Dang it, New Zealand.
Well, that's a good looking pen, man, especially if you made it. Very good looking. So
yeah.
Well, as always, Nick, I enjoy interacting with you most of the time. And
well, thanks for having me on. Wait, no, thanks for being on. Oh,
you're welcome.
I just kicked myself off my own show. Ty, wait, real quick follow-up. He says,
yes.
He said, ordered the parts to make it, and assuming my pecan blanks haven't gotten lost in the mail due to the shutdown here, I'll be turning it sooner or later, and I'm in New Zealand.
I'm honestly in awe of people that can craft those kind of things like that. That's really cool. I do have a small pen lathe, by the way. I bought it to turn parts for. Okay, never mind. This is is gonna. Yeah.
That's okay. Well, thanks for being on tonight, Ty. I have to move on to this document.
Absolutely. I just wouldn't want anybody to think that we didn't know what we were talking about. We did know what we're talking about, but then we didn't. So
yeah, well, that's because the government changed the rules.
But the bottom line is, look, everybody out there, go take a look at the SBA website. See what you might qualify for. If you're unemployed, look at the unemployment stuff. The government's doing all kinds of things to try to make, try to ease the burden on y'all. Just go look at it. It's on the interwebs, So
yeah.
But anyway, well, thank you, my friend, as always.
Thank you for coming on and clarifying. And we'll probably see you Friday on the Big Brain panel.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. So, all right, see you later, man.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, there we go. Mr. Ty Beard. Always happy to have Ty on. Oh, I wish I could explain to you guys what I've been going through. For you, it's all for you that I go through this. Episode 10 is going to be a good one. That's all I got to say. I have to deal with a weird little rodent sometimes. Okay, let me get this document pulled up on screen here. Right. Okay, yeah, this is the one. This is the one. Here we go. Here we go. Aussie is pronounced Ozzy as in Osborne. I mean, or Aussie. That's how it's spelled. So this is the filing of Monica and Ron. Oh boy. We have all of this stuff here. Basically, by the way, guys, we do have a word count issue on this document. Shocker. Surprise, surprise. Now they're going to try and weasel their way around the word count by suggesting that they have a combined word count for their reply and their cross appeal. However, there's a pretty obvious argument that their cross appeal makes up less than something like 2,000 words of the appeal document, and their reply goes well over the 7,500 words that they would get, because they'll get 15,000 words for their cross appeal, but they only get 7,500 words for their response. And they have grossly exceeded that. And if you get a hold of this document, which it's free, all the appeals documents, by the way, are free on the Texas Second Court of Appeals website. You can find them. They're actually free on Research Texas as well, but you have to make an account there to get them. Even though you don't have to pay anything, you do have to sign up. But anything that is on a numbered page, for the most part, as a general rule, they're going to be counted in the actual word count, which means that all of these introductory pieces are not. Most of them are laid out in the actual rules as to what's not there. Like statement of the case is specifically listed. Request for oral argument, that's not going to go against your word count. But the statement of facts, that's where it really starts. And then their argument and all of that stuff. So if you want to calculate out the words for yourself and get a rough idea, that's how you can do it. All right. Oh boy. Oh guys, I'm supposed to give me a second. I got the blood pressure monitor going. So I want to go grab that real quick. I'll be right back. Kun. Okay. Okay. I apologize for that. Here we go. We got... No, stop. The blood pressure monitor. Little cuff thingy. I'm gonna get this thing on my arm. Have it handy. I don't know. This is... You know, there's... The problem with this thing... The only real problem with this thing... Left arm? No. Who cares? I don't think it's arm specific. The problem with this thing is that okay. Putting this on with one arm is challenging. It's not a constant thing, right? Like, you can't have a constant blood pressure monitor very easily. That's not a simple feat. What am I doing? Hold on, I gotta focus. I'm apparently too distracted by talking. There we go. Blood pressure monitor is on. We'll get a baseline reading here as we go. And I guess since it's not constant, I'll have to just do this from time to time, right? They make ones that go on your finger. I didn't know those measured blood pressure. Okay, here we go. It's going. Hmm. (175/200). Is that good? Just kidding. That was really high. And I actually got, okay. I took this earlier and got 120/80, but I just got 147/97. Let me check this stupid thing just in case. Hold on. Might be because I'm talking. Because I literally just got a new high score, yes. I was joking on the first one. The second one is much higher. Maybe I should call if my doctor happens to be watching, please pray for me. I'll try one more time here. I'm gonna be quiet. It went up. Oh my God. Well, we dying tonight, boys. I guess it doesn't even matter. Oh no. The only way we can solve this is with Canadian whiskey. I'm going to try another one after I didn't run up and down the stairs. Because, I kid you not, I took a reading upstairs right when I opened this thing, and it was 120/80, which is, like, pretty normal for my age. But, we'll see. We'll check it again in a little bit. Let's get going on this thing. Franco Miranda says, "Woo lad, first half of Funny's brief is bad, and I can't imagine the exceptionalism you will have to endure from Veronica tonight. Good luck to you, Nick, and we're looking forward to the quality fires." Well, apparently my heart isn't. Christopher French says, "It's human error. Basically, it's your fault, and that's an O2 monitor." Nope, it's not. Okay. Stooge Muffin Stuffin says, "Use a heart rate monitor." I don't have one that'll show up on the screen. And actually, the one that I have is broken. But I'll get one. Polly Toes says, "Feet flat, 90 degrees at knees, arm at heart level, left arm is better." but the left arm is less convenient. Maybe I'll do that. I'm not going to take the reading now, but I did take it on my left arm earlier. My right arm is the Coom arm or whatever. Maybe that's the problem. God, this is annoying. This will be like a story on one of those stupid YouTube channels later on, like great big story like, meet the lawyer whose online prank prompted a doctor to save his life with this one small notice. Small notice. Heart rate was diagnosed hypertension. Okay. All right. So I've got the thing ready to go. After a little reading, we'll get back into it. Okay. Which might not be better. Might not be better. No, next time don't look at hentai before using it. Oh God, look at this table of contents. Okay. Well, let's just do it. Let's ignore this because I'll just have a heart attack right now. They included appendices. Okay. I don't know if they are citing to the record or why they have an appendices, because everything that's in the record should already be in the clerk's record. But we'll see. Nature of the case. So here's the statement of the case. We'll have to check this out. This appeal arises out of a textbook strategic lawsuit against public participation filed by appellant cross appellee Victor Mignogna against appellees cross appellants Monica Rial and Ronald Toye for comments they allegedly made about him on the internet. Well, I mean, they made them. They didn't deny them, and they're admitted. They were admitted. So, Mignogna is a public figure whose underlying lawsuit was an all-out assault on Rial and Toye, designed to silence their right to speak publicly on a matter of public concern, i.e. Mignogna's sexual harassment of children and women, both in public and behind closed doors. Really? Children, huh? That's interesting. Rial and Toye filed a cross-appeal challenging the fees awarded by trial court after dismissing with prejudice Mignogna's lawsuit in its entirety. However, for simplicity and ease of reading, this brief will simply refer to Rial and Toye either individually or collectively as appellees rather than appellees/cross appellants. Likewise, the brief will refer to Mignogna as appellant rather than appellant/cross appellant. Appellee. Okay. Sure. Save word count. And then course of proceeding and procedural history. Mignogna filed this underlying lawsuit against Rial and Toye as well as appellees Jamie Markey and Funimation Productions. Citations to the clerk's record CR, supplemental clerk's record sup CR, and reporter's record refer to the relevant volume record or supplement and page numbers, e.g. 3 sup CR 417, third volume of the supplemental clerk's record at pages 4 to 17. Okay, so they provided a legend for this. He then filed a first amended petition on July 12, 2019. Mignogna alleged 4 causes of action against Rial and Toye for defamation, tortious interference with existing contracts, tortious interference with prospective business relations, and civil conspiracy. After agreeing to extend the deadline to file so the parties could conduct discovery, Rial and Toye filed a motion to dismiss pursuant to the TCPA. The parties then signed a Rule 11 agreement that extended Mignogna's deadline to file a response to August 30th. Despite the extension, Mignogna not only missed his deadline, but also submitted a filing that had blank spaces, missing citations, and attached fraudulent affidavits, purportedly signed by Chuck Huber, Chris Slatosh, and Mignogna. Untimely response. But it was timely. The court found it to be timely. So, but that doesn't, I mean, it doesn't matter. Recognizing that the affidavits attached to the untimely response were defective, Mignogna withdrew them from consideration on September 3rd. This is significant because Mignogna's February 2020 opening brief relies heavily on factual allegations arising out of the withdrawn affidavits, particularly statements from Christopher Slatosh that are both objectionable and not properly part of the appellate record. Now, see, this is an interesting tactic that they're taking because yet again, right at the onset, they're making the argument that this case requires this evidence that is before the court and has actually been discussed by the parties. Thanks. I guess. That's ubiquitous amongst all of the appellees. All of them argue that there are facts in those letters which are relied on by the plaintiff. So the interesting question for the appeals court will be, do we need to have those to achieve the just and equitable outcome that the TCPA seeks? So there we go. Mignogna also asserted a claim for vicarious liability against Defamation for conduct allegedly committed by Real, Toye, or Markey, but failed to specify which. All of them. After withdrawing the affidavits, Mignogna filed a second amended petition 3 days before the TCPA hearing with brand new arguments and evidence seeking to circumvent the statute and Rule 11 briefing deadline. Neither of these are true. The statute does not talk about amending petitions or having a deadline to amend petitions, and the Rule 11 had nothing to do with amending petitions. So this is an untrue statement. Real and Toye promptly objected and moved to exclude the second amended petition because it included new arguments and inadmissible evidence that Mignogna was using to oppose the anti-SLAPP motion. The trial court correctly excluded the untimely second amended petition and evidence, acknowledging the surprise and prejudice it created. Accordingly, Mignogna's first amended petition is the live pleading for purposes of this appeal. But they didn't actually exclude the second amended petition. Chubb said he refused to consider it. Or just didn't consider. I don't think he even said refuse. He just said he didn't consider it. He did not strike the second amended petition, and as a matter of law, that may be a problem for Chubb's ruling, we'll say, and therefore for the defendants. Andrew Bin says, children, my alcohol is boiling right now. Willful Ignorance says, hello, Nick, it's been a while. Hope you and your family are staying safe. Oh, we're good, buddy. How long do you think this will go on? Like this show or the COVID stuff? Man, if it goes beyond the beginning of June, people are going to be really pissed. So hopefully it'll be done in June. Blaine 20 says, the paradigm textbook example of a slap suit is one in which a man demands remedy for a handful of devious morons who fabricated decade-old events based on zero evidence in order to defame and ruin his career. Interesting. That should probably go in the brief, in the response. That's great. That's good. Trial court's disposition. The trial court dismissed all claims against defendants on October 4th, as directed by the dismissal order. In the dismissal order, the trial court retained jurisdiction to rule on an award of attorney's fees, costs, and other expenses incurred in defending this action, an appropriate sanction pursuant to Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code. As directed by the dismissal order, appellees filed their brief in support of sanctions and attorney's fees, seeking $282,953.80 in fees. On November 21st, 2019, the trial court held an evidentiary hearing on the Real Toye fees motion, whereby appellees presented testimony and evidence in accordance with the recent Texas Supreme Court opinion, Rormuz Venture versus UTSW DVA Healthcare LLP, to support their request for fees. Mignogna did not offer evidence, testimony, or an expert to contradict appellees' calculation. I mean, no, they didn't. They just relied on your expert, which was Lemoyne. And the judge didn't really seem to agree with what Lemoyne had to say. That's a problem, I suppose. Scruffy Kid 100 says, look at the statement of facts, you boomer. It's the funniest part. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Felipe Mouve says, Nick, the good news is that you're going to make spot 10 or 9 of a video called Top 10 List of YouTubers That Died on a Live Stream. Oh, no. On November 25th, the trial court entered its final judgment, dismissing Mignogna's claims against Toye and Real with prejudice and awarding them fees and sanctions. However, the final judgment improperly awarded all defendants, Real, Toye, Markey, and Defamation, the same amount of attorney's fees, $50,000 each. This is actually not true. I mean, practically it is true. But, oh, wait, no, it's not. Jamie Markey did not get $50,000. And Real and Toye were treated as a single defendant, receiving $100,000. It It was not separated out as $50,000 each, which is an interesting thing because they are not a married couple. And so they received, in a weird way, Rial and Toye received that money as tenants in common, I suppose. Judge Chupp did not specify the ownership distribution of those $50,000. So they actually just received $100,000 as co-owning or as co-owners. They did not receive $50,000 each. It would be up to them to determine the requisite amount of money that each of them should get as separate people. Their ownership share presumed to be 50%, but one could, in theory, say, hey, I put up the money for this, I get all $100,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is an outright false statement right here. Markey also did not get $50,000. Even though the evidence and testimony supported a higher award for Rial and Toye, they actually received a significantly higher reward. They received $100,000. Not only did the final judgment disregard Rial and Toye's evidence of time and labor justifying an award of their full $282,953.80, but Mignogna also failed to offer controverting evidence to reduce the fees. Didn't need to. Your evidence wasn't very good. Rial and Toye therefore requests this court affirm the dismissal of Mignogna's claims with prejudice, but reverse and render an award of attorney's fees of $282,953.80 at the trial level and $55,000 in conditional appellate fees. The trial court awarded Rial and Toye $55,000 in conditional appellate fees, which Mignogna did not challenge below and does not challenge in his February 20 opening brief. Something that I, by the way, believe they should challenge, and they can in their reply brief. So, in their SIR reply, they can still challenge those conditional fees, and I think they should. Very much think they should. Request for oral argument. Appellants request oral and believe that oral before the panel of justices assigned to this matter would advance consideration and determination of the issues. So they want oral. So that's that. Issues presented and restated. We don't like what he said, so we're going to restate it. I'm going to skip this. I don't want to read their... Well, I don't know. Remember what I was saying when we read Vic's brief? When you're writing your issues for a court, you want them to be able to answer yes. That's the psychological play. You don't want them to say no. It's harder for people to say no than it is to say yes as a general rule. So when you want a judge reading your issue, you want them to say, the trial court properly found that Rial and Toye established by a preponderance of the evidence that Mignogna's claims are based on, relate to, or in response to appellee's exercise of their right to free speech and right of association. Yes. That's what you want the trial court to say, or the judge reading it to say. You want them to say yes to your question, not no. Well-written questions leading to an answer should lead to an affirmative answer, not a negative one. But I am not going to read all these because they'll be... Let's, here we go. I'm gonna do it. Don't start the damn thing. Oh, it went down a tiny bit. Oh no, I'm still gonna die. 137/94. Not good. Not good. Mignogna works in the so statement of facts. Mignogna works in the entertainment industry for more than 20 years, becoming a public figure. That's not how that works, but okay. Lots of people have worked in the entertainment industry for 20 years and you'd never know who they are. Mignogna is a 56-year-old voice actor. Actually, I think he's 57. Liars. And screen actor with over 350 acting credits to his name, which is just 7,000 less than Samuel L. Jackson. And in his own words, has amassed a pretty significant fan base. He also claims to derive a sizable income from appearance fees and from signing autographs, taking photos with fans, and appearing on guest panels. These are all from the petition. And yeah, it's a good idea to always use your opponent's words to make your argument. So... His most prominent role developed from 2004 through 2018, when Mignogna alleges that he was a voice actor in at least 10 anime films or television shows produced by Funimation, many of which were part of the popular Dragon Ball Z series. Funimation cast Mr. Mignogna as the English voice for Broly, the lead character in the fantasy anime martial arts film Dragon Ball Super Broly. On January 16, 2019, Dragon Ball Super Broly premiered in the United States, earning $7 million on its first day and $24 million within the first 5 days of its premiere. In addition to being a prominent voice actor in a wildly successful animated movie and featured guests at anime and other conventions, Mignogna also acts in front of the camera, with several on-screen credits to his name. What ones? Any that these judges have ever heard of? He has also written, directed, and starred in an award-winning web series based on Star Trek. I mean, again, I get what they're trying to do, but they're trying to make him a general purpose public figure. And none of this is part of that test. General purpose public figures are either government people or prominent government people, not like you work at the DMV, right? Prominent government people or people who are so well known that they are a household name. I've said this over and over and over again, but that's what they're trying to establish here. Like you'd know this guy if you saw him to the appeals court. In fact, Mignogna is so popular that his verified Twitter account has over 113,000 followers. Didn't at the time this all started, by the way. And since 2008, he has had a dedicated fan club called the Risen Bull Rangers, a reference to one of his most famous characters. And his most famous character that you judges have never heard of. On January 16, 2019, allegations of Mignogna's long history of sexual harassment, pedophilia, and homophobia erupt online. After years of report, I bet it's sad that when Lemoyne thinks of pedophilia, he erupts. Or thinks of erupting. Gross. After years of reports and rumors about Mignogna's sexual harassment of women, accusations concerning his sexual misconduct erupted after Twitter user Hanleia posted on January 16, 2019 that Mignogna was a homophobic, rude asshole who's been creepy to underage female fans for over 10 years, and I've been screaming about this since 2010. This Twitter user then tagged Funimation in a post asking, hey, Funimation, why do you employ a known pedophile? Is that referencing Vic Mignogna? Using their standard, neither of these are complete. Neither of these show reference to Vic Mignogna at all. And again, we've come to a fact question. Again, we've come to a question of fact about whether or not this is about Vic and whether or not the people involved in this case know that this is about Vic. The post also included a link to previously published allegations about Mignogna's sexual misconduct at anime conventions. Notice they stopped talking about where that link went. Do you notice that, guys? What? Oh, it provided a link. A link to where? I wonder why they stopped putting pretty ugly little liars in the documents. Why they stopped calling it that. I don't know. I don't know. Andrew Bin says, oral, why bring up things that Ron has never received? Well, not without a remote in hand anyway. Including allegations from one person being quoted as being approximately 14 years old when she attended New York Comic Con in 2014 and met Mignogna. This is actually a really scumbag move. Just so you guys know, that the team at Wick and Phillips is a pile of trash. Like, they're fucking scum. Absolute trash people. Because what they don't do is talk about the allegation. What they just mention someone who was 14 when she attended New York Comic Con and met Mignogna, leaving it to the idea that this is a pedophilic accusation, which it's not. Not at all. So that's polite of them. Hanlea's post received over 8,400 likes, 4,200 retweets, with over 440 comments as of January 30th, 2019, many of which discuss specific examples of unwanted and unsolicited physical contact by Mignogna. Importantly, Mignogna has no evidence that Real, Toye, Markey, or Funimation had anything to do with this Twitter post. Do you have any, and then they quote him, do you have any evidence or proof, any indication that any of the defendants had anything to do with someone putting a tweet out about you on January 16th, 2019? I do not know. And this tweet is not actually part of the case. So they're making a big deal about it. It's just part of the issue that allowed the defendants in question to, or prompted, I guess, to make defamatory claims on their own. So that's lovely. Hanlea was not the first person to bring accusations against Mignogna. Rather, her tweet merely reignited pre-existing discussions about Mignogna's misconduct from hundreds of others. Long before Real or Toye are alleged to have tweeted anything, there were published reports about Mignogna's predatory behavior, with members of the anime community commenting online for over a decade. They actually can't support this at all. So, or unless this might be the IO9 article and the ANN articles. That might be what they're talking about here. Describing similar experiences and knowledge of Mignogna's reputation for sexual misconduct in the anime industry. After the allegations go viral, Mignogna weaponizes his fan base and issues a self-serving statement trying to spin the narrative in his favor. Do I have to say don't apologize? Following the release of Dragon Ball Super Broly, Mignogna immediately inserted himself into the online discussion by posting online statements responding to the allegations and recruiting his fan base to attack his accusers. This is a false statement right there. In fact, his first order of business was to sound the call to arms for his fan group, the Reasonable Rangers, by personally asking them to combat the negative stories that were flooding the internet and to, quote, do whatever you can do to counter all these lies and negativity. Again, selectively quoting what he said. Just a real beautiful piece of writing here. While privately inciting his fans to attack his users in the public, the public fan group page, he privately did it, apparently. Okay. What? Mignogna publicly issued a Twitter apology to his 113,000 followers. He didn't have 113,000 followers on this date. They've never actually established that at all. It was actually lower, I believe, than this on January 20th. You know what's would be interesting? Let me well, come on. Here we go. So we've got that's monthly gained followers. Gained monthly favorites. That's just gained followers. What were his follower numbers back then? We don't have it. No! Damn. There's probably a site that has it, but they were not actually that high. In fact, I'll just tell you they weren't. In February of 2019, he gained 30,000 followers on Twitter. Whereas he was gaining usually about 1,000 a month, 500 to 1,000 a month, most months, for the year leading up to that. And then on February, he gains 30,000 followers. So, and then another 5 in March, 4 in April, May, and he's been gaining pretty steadily most months since then. Pretty interesting. So they're actually incorrect. They must be incorrect, because even if you subtracted the February followers from his current follower count, it's 15,000 lower than what he had, than what they're listing him as having. So they're actually lying about his popularity. So that's good. Maybe they should focus. I don't know if they should bring that up. I don't know that it matters so much, but they really should do that. They really should just mention that he did not have 113,000 followers in January of 2019. It would be impossible for him to have had that. He had less than 100,000 followers at the time, and it was probably more like 80,000. To address years of rumors about his sexual harassment. However, he minimized the allegations because he, quote, comes from an affectionately expressive family where such displays are commonplace. Mignogna's self-interested apology failed to have its intended effect, and allegations about his behavior continued to circulate online. Who circulated them? Lemons? Who did it? The apology fails, the allegations keep coming, and numerous articles outline what many people have known for years. Now, you don't get to really attack the inflammatory nature of the subheadings too much, but these are assuming facts that are not in evidence. We don't know what anybody has known for any amount of time about any of this stuff. There's no testimony that actually comes out talking about this. Even in the stuff they admitted, they don't talk about what people have known for years. That's not a real thing. In the days following the release of Dragon Ball Super Broly, several articles appeared online that detailed Mignogna's already poor reputation. See, what they're going for is they're trying to bolster the argument that Judge Chupp completely ignored about him being libel-proof. That's what they're going for here. January 2015, or 2019, Polygon.com, Dragon Ball Super Broly, voice actor responds to sexual harassment and homophobia claims. Many convention-goer stories continue to come out on social media detailing times when the actor acted flirtatiously toward them. Fondling, kissing, groping, etc. without their consent, most while they're still underage. Yes, so a defamatory article makes defamatory statements okay. Sure. All right. While these allegations are only just picking up steam, many of them go as far back as 2010. Which ones? January 30th, 2019, Anime News Network. Far from perfect, fans recount unwanted affection from voice actor Vic Mignogna. Multiple individuals, many with friends present to corroborate. Yeah, sure. Relayed their personal encounters with Mignogna with an increasingly common series of events. February 1st, 2019, the Deo of Dragon Ball.com /blog. Remember, this guy, he didn't want to get involved. Derek. Fixing the staircase. Referencing the broken staircase document, which was a target list of voice actors. Hope you're not on it, other people. Vic Mignogna's sexual assault allegations and the voice actors who speak out. Vic Mignogna, the voice of Broly and Dragon Ball Super, has been accused of sexually assaulting women at anime conventions. However, numerous allegations of sexual assault have shadowed Mignogna's career and continue up to today. This actually isn't true. What allegations of sexual assault? During the research for this article, over 100 independent allegations surfaced dating back to 2003. February 19th, 2019. Gizmodo.com, one of anime's biggest voices accused of sexual harassment. Notice they're attempting to muddy the water here between when these articles came out and when their statements were made. Stories about Mignogna have been circulating online for over a decade, but the latest round of accusations started surfacing around mid-January of this year. IO9 spoke with more, referencing the IO9 article. And if you don't know how this works, if you didn't learn from Gamergate, I hate to bring up Gates, I really do. But if you didn't learn from Gamergate how this works, is a bunch of similarly oriented writers get together and all write pieces, and they generate a story, and then they reference the story by referencing their colleagues' pieces. That's how they go ahead and give credibility to an otherwise non-credible thing. So here, they're citing this IO9 article. Gizmodo's citing this. And by the way, the other articles did as well. So it's just a circle jerk of journalism. IO9 spoke with more than 25 voice actors, cosplayers, industry professionals, convention employees, and former fans about their experiences with Manana, and only published something like 12 of them. Pretty interesting. Manana concedes that the foregoing articles damaged his reputation. Well, yeah. Importantly, the sources for the articles did not include Rial or Toye. How do we know that? Actually, that's not in evidence. Rather, they included voice actors. I guess Rial's not a voice actor. Cosplayers. I guess Toye's not a cosplayer. Industry professionals, convention employees, and former fans who made over 100 allegations against Manana. Given the extensive allegations, Funimation launched an investigation into Manana's misconduct, found the allegations credible, and terminated its relationship with Manana. This, again, it's not the extensive allegations. The investigation was launched by Monica Rial, if I remember right. Beginning on January 22nd, 2019, while renewed allegations were swirling about Manana, Funimation launched an investigation into his behavior. Sony Picture Entertainment's executive director of employee relations, Tammy Denbo, led the investigation into Manana. As part of her investigation, Ms. Denbo interviewed Rial and 4 others, as well as Manana himself. Which 4? Based on her interviews, as well as the online commentary and articles, this actually is not in Denbo's... That's not from Denbo's affidavit. They added that part. Denbo concluded that the allegations against Manana were credible. Therefore, Funimation terminated Manana. That's actually not how that went either, because Karen Mika made the decision to terminate Manana after Tammy Denbo relayed to her that they were credible. We don't have anything saying that Karen Mika made the decision solely based on this credibility thing. There's a step missing. Perception checks. Lie. Rial was a named source in IO9. She was unnamed for 2 other stories. Oh! Let me take that note down. Thank you, perception check. Askilles says, the same tweet that wasn't even referring to Vic, that tweet? Well, yeah, it was to Monica's ex-boyfriend, Ilich Guardiola. Because Monica dates pedophiles. Apparently. Ron, take a seat. Funimation is not the only company to take action against Manana. After doing their own independent investigation into the allegations, there's actually no evidence of this at all. Where's this in evidence? Where's this in the record? On February 5th, 2019, anime studio Rooster Teeth publicly terminated its relationship with Manana. In fact, between January 18th, 2019 and February 6th, 2019, Manana lost 10 convention invites. Critically, not a single convention or studio came forward to say the cancellations were because of something Rial or Toye are alleged to have said. Well, isn't that nice? Texas doesn't pay much attention to the words of the breaching party. That's Knox v. Taylor. Just a second. $137/95. Oh my god. Why? Wonder why my diastolic blood pressure is so high. Maybe because it's late. Maybe it's the liquor. Does liquor raise blood pressure? I don't know. I did eat KFC after taking my first one. Maybe that'll do it. As the firestorm waged online, appellees discussed their own negative experiences with Manana. Rial has worked in voice acting over the last 20 years, including with Manana. Seeing how internet commentators were assailing Manana's accusers as liars. So wait a minute. They didn't believe them. I did. I meant to get a KFC chicken pot pie because those are actually pretty good. But I haven't had KFC chicken strips ever. So they were out of pot pie, so I had chicken strips. They're okay. I think I only had 2. It's not like I ate 50 of them. I wish I did. Rial recounted her own personal experience with Mignogna from a convention in 2007, explaining that her experience was true and that she came forward to corroborate other women's similar stories. Uh-oh. There we go. We've raised a fact issue. This is a true story. True story. Here are statements of facts. Didn't they just say that she's never, that these are, or didn't they just say these are alleged? These are alleged statements made. Now you're saying that she made them and that they're true. You've now got a fact issue. And again, that's one thing I really hope that Vic's team hammers on in their reply briefs is that they've all raised fact issues. Her experience was true. Vic says it's untrue. Should fall in favor of Vic for purposes of TCPA. Just how it should go. And they're saying here that it is a fact question. Like they're admitting to that. Testifying that while she and Mignogna were guests at IzumiCon, Mignogna unexpectedly grabbed her by her arms and began aggressively kissing her. Fact statement. Fact statement. Pushed her onto a bed. Fact statement. Climbed on top of her. Fact statement. And continued to aggressively kiss her while holding her down. All fact statements. All claimed false by Mignogna. All of them. Okay. Kaki Onsai says, it's funny that nowadays in Kung Flu, this case against Vic and other issues that journalists are now the lowest life form in America, lower even than Congress people and lawyers. Free press equals fourth estate. Hashtag RIP. Polytoes says, sent you a Facebook message with blood pressure infos. Love watching your stream and learning about real law. My way of giving back, Denny Crane. Hey, thanks, Denny. I appreciate it. I just want to know why it's so much higher than it was this evening. Okay. Other women also came forward and described similar experiences with Mignogna. Affidavit of voice actress Kara Edwards supporting Rial and Toya's anti-slap motion, wherein she described Mignogna's aggressive attempts to have sex with her in 2008 and again in 2010. Oh, yes. Where she lied about a picture that was taken, a posed picture taken by her friends and posted on Facebook with all sorts of laughs and cheer and all of that good stuff. Flat out lie. It's great. It's great. People just go out and lie about it. Fine. The record is replete with evidence from countless sources describing similar experiences and knowledge of Mignogna's reputation for inappropriate sexual misconduct in the industry. For everyone's information, if Mignogna had an existing reputation for sexual misconduct in the industry, and then a random fat bitch comes in and says, he did these things, grabbing me by the arms, throwing me on the bed, climbing me on top of me, and all that stuff, and then he is canceled from anything after that, she has still defamed him. It doesn't make it true because of a reputation. Even if that reputation is true, it doesn't further make your fact statements true. Because once you get damages from something, it is said that the new thing has caused damages that weren't otherwise there. This is a fault with their entire argument, is that if he had such a bad reputation, how, from industry insiders, by the way, right? We're saying that, oh, everybody knew about it, is what their claim is. But everybody knew about it, but he still had the damn job. He still had the job. And not until you came along did he no longer have the job. So now you have damages that are actually attributable to your comments in a way that they might not have otherwise been. If he was always losing work from all of these allegations always existing, then he wouldn't have a claim, but he wasn't losing work. He loses work once she opens her mouth. That's it. Ugh. An internet shock jock. Oh! Who's that? I wonder who they're talking about. Injects himself into the controversy and raises over $257,000 to fund Mignogna's lawsuit. Sure. Let's see. GoFundMe, Vic kicks back. We got to bring it up. We've got it, boys and girls, of course. We've got it. Vic kicks back $277,415. Thank you to Scott Sommer, Will Stevenson, Anonymous, Jennifer Sandoval, Benuelos, James Verstrate. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And Scott Sommer again, Gina Buck, Joseph Cole. I think I read these the other day. Thank you all for your donations. We'll see how many times they mention this going forward. Jock. Get that jock shocked. I don't know what that even means. I don't know what that means. Nova Zero says, Nick, is it possible that them raising fact issues is them trying to pin it on each other? No. As if to put it in a way that the lies are so bad and so severe that they fell for it. They're fat-ass liars is what I'm getting at. I mean, yeah, that part is true. No, I think they're just not very smart in how they're making their arguments. But that's me. Andrew Bin says, climbed on top of her. Must have taken hours. You are uncharitable. Perhaps there is no clearer evidence of Mignogna's status as a public figure and the retaliatory nature of the lawsuit than the online campaign created by his fans to fund the lawsuit. How is it retaliatory if it wasn't created by him against Rial and Toye? In February 2019, Minnesota resident Nick Rekieta contacted Mignogna to express support for the voice actor's situation and set up a GoFundMe campaign to pay for lawsuits against appellees. This is not true. That's not true, and that's assuming facts, not an evidence, by the way. As I've stated multiple times, I contacted him to invite him onto a show. That's what I contacted him for. That is the reason for the contact. That is the reason for the initial conversation I had with Mr. Mignogna. I said, I believe I opened that email with, I am a lawyer in Minnesota. However, I am not soliciting representation in any capacity. I'm inviting you on. I'm also a YouTube host, and I'm inviting you on a panel discussion to talk about the situation you are involved in and asking for you to appear and give your take on it. So this is flat out incorrect. I did not contact him to set up a GoFundMe campaign to pay for lawsuits against appellees. I barely even heard of the man. I was inviting him on the show, as well as bloggers, corporations, and pseudo-anonymous keyboard warriors. Well, yeah. There you go. GoFundMe war chest. The only war chest you need is this one. Ah! Sorry, I'm just kidding. Being Alex Jones. Let's see. That GoFundMe war chest raised more than $257,000 in order to help Vic kick back. Are they just? They're just gonna. Amazingly, they just ignore the hashtag kick Vic. Amazingly, but this is good. This is good. This fund is set up for Vic's legal defense fees. There are many possible defendants in different jurisdictions, from boring bloggers to multi-million, even multi-billion-dollar corporations. It takes an agile and experienced, not cheap legal team to coordinate this kind of strategy. But it's time to fight back. Brigades of pseudo-anonymous keyboard warriors cannot be allowed to defame and destroy decades of goodwill on rumor and unverifiable allegation. Companies cannot rely on non-credible accusations and devastate a career for virtue points. Did they think that this is about Vic? That this paragraph, which doesn't mention Vic at all, is like somehow limited or reserved to Vic Mignogna? That's interesting. I guess they can't read. I don't know. Mignogna then tried to use the GoFundMe war chest and the threat of a lawsuit as leverage to silence appellees. Did he? Where? After Rial, Toye, and Markey publicly posted their comments, Mignogna not only had his fans, like Rekieta, not a fan. I mean, I like the guy, but I'm certainly not a fan. Attacking appellees online. Also, Mignogna asked everybody to be kind and polite. He has never once asked me to attack these people. Ever. Ever. So, there you go. He also sent his friend Chuck Huber to threaten litigation if the women did not issue retractions and stop making allegations. Ooh, he sent Chuck now. That's interesting. Specifically on March, this is facts, not an evidence, by the way. Specifically on March 6, 2019, after several exchanges about the threat of litigation, Huber emailed Rial to say that Mignogna was gearing up for a legal and social battle unless Rial and others kept quiet. I don't think that's what Chuck said. And please don't mistake this negotiation. This wasn't actually a negotiation. They're completely misrepresenting what happened. Chuck Huber reached out to them with proposed statements. Chuck Huber reached out to them with proposed statements that they didn't write and Vic didn't write. Chuck did that. Not Vic. Certainly not me. Dear God. They've added negotiation to try and misrepresent what was going on. Chuck was trying to organize some sort of trade to avoid a lawsuit. Chuck was. Chuck. And they know that because Chuck told them that in an email. They're fucking lying here. That's amazing. Just flat out fucking lying to the court. As some weakness or on their part. This is my effort to try and stop something I know will be very damaging. They have a full court press prepared that is not a minor effort. They will be extremely thorough in both legal and social spheres. I wish they were more thorough in social spheres. I wish they were much more thorough in social spheres. I guess they just ignored the part where I went on a rant on both YouTube and Twitch that they all talked about quite a bit, where I specifically said I wished Vic was far more vocal about how scummy these people are and how disgusting they are and how much they suck. I've wanted that forever. Oh man, if only they actually were thorough in the social sphere. Wouldn't that have been nice? These are the same people saying he should have hired a PR firm to rehabilitate his image in the social sphere. But he's been very thorough. Yeah, okay. Okay. Shut up, Nancy. Mignogna's entire strategy was to unleash a torrent of internet abuse coupled with litigation to silence appellees. Nope. It's never been the case. God, it's too bad it wasn't. Oh, wouldn't it have been funny if it was more abusive? Jeez. Ugh. I wish it was. You know what's a funnier lawsuit than the one we've got? One in which he calls them fat and stuff. Oh. You can only get so much comedy shoved into a lawsuit. Ugh. These harassing and abusive tactics waged alongside the lawsuit were specifically designed to accomplish Mignogna's stated intent. Silence his accusers and retaliate against them? Notice the lack of citation. What stated intent? Silence accusers. Just flat out fucking lie. It's amazing. Consistent with his threats. Oh, I got an error for talking too much. Consistent with his threats, Mignogna files suit against Rial and Toye. You know what? Falsely threatening to file a lawsuit is actually, like, that's actually a problem. That could be extortion. If you're threatening to file a lawsuit, but you don't actually mean to, that could be extortive behavior and an actual crime. You can't do that. So, like, if you're threatening a lawsuit, it has to be a good faith threat. Like, no, I'm going to do this because I have a belief that I need to. I'm going to do this. Oh, again. Unable to extort their silence. He sent no offers to extort their silence in any way. Produce one. Produce a, look, you shut up or else this. Produce it. They don't even have it. In fact, it's, even if you believe their story, it's the opposite. Because Chuck Huber was, and again, Vic did not send Chuck with those claims or those pre-written letters that Chuck wrote up of his own volition, as he stated in the same email chain that they're misrepresenting here. But even if Vic had sent those, it included statements from all the parties. Vic, Monica, Marky, and Funimation. So it was the opposite of having them shut up. It was to have them specifically say things. But again, that was Chuck. Hey, thanks a fucking lot, Chuck. You're a goddamn superhero, aren't you? Mignogna filed his claims against Rial and Toye, all of which arise directly out of communications that relate to or in response to the exercise of Appellee's right to free speech and association. Specifically, Mignogna filed suit against Rial and Toye because they communicated with their Twitter followers for the collective purpose of publicly discussing Mignogna's sexual misconduct. That's a fact question. This is a fact question, by the way. Again, it's a fact question. Hold on, I'm doing this. $122/84. I'm calming down. My natural state must be to be pissed off. That must be it. I get better blood pressure when I'm fucking mad. This blood pressure machine's gonna drive me to a damn heart attack. It's right here. Mignogna vaguely alleges that one or more defendants began actively defaming Mignogna directly to anime conventions, telling people about investigations and Mignogna being fired. These communications are at the heart of Mignogna's lawsuit. He is retaliating against Rial and Toye for sharing their personal experiences and opinions about his dangerous predatory behavior, especially toward their underage female fans. That's weird. Is Ron Toye a sub 18-year-old girl? Is Ron Toye a sub 18-year-old girl? We know Monica isn't. Old girl basically in a walker. We know she's not a sub 18-year-old girl, but sharing their personal experiences and opinions about his dangerous predatory behavior, especially behavior toward underage female fans. That wasn't Monica's statement at all. Ron has said that wasn't his statement over and over. These fucking figs are lying to the court, bold as can be, flat out lies about the nature of what they claim those statements are. Ron's not talking 4 women he personally knows, right? Monica Rial, Yost, Sarah Breckmeyer. 4 women he personally knows. What predatory behavior towards underage female fans, Ron? You fucking lying in your document? Again? Paying lawyers to lie? Again? Or are you lying to me? I mean, where are you lying, Ron? Why are you lying? Why do you lie? Amazing. Just a flat out lie. Can't... Bannon says, I've been going to con for 2 decades and am sad how much it's changed. Back then, I met a guy dressed as Ryu who scratched his Hadoukens in front of strangers and nobody cared. Now it's like walking on eggshells all the time. Sevic says, at what point does the lying, misrepresentation, backhanded defamation, and a filing reach a level where you get into trouble? It's really hard to do. It's an adversarial system, so it's really, really tough. Can I just file a lawsuit and defame someone in my filing and it's fine? No, but practically yes, as long as you're not then releasing that lawsuit or the content of that lawsuit for the purposes of defaming someone. Like if you filed a lawsuit with a bunch of defamatory statements and then you leaked it to someone for distribution, knowing that they would share those defamatory statements for the purposes of harming the other person, that would not be protected. Not be protected at all. So, but other than that, yeah, you kind of can. JCF Data says, Nick, check your Discord messages. Sent you Vic's Twitter follower stats back to February 13th, 2019 was 90,425. So that means that when Vic, February, he gained 27,000 followers. So he's gained from somewhere in there. He gains all the stuff. Also, link to IO9 that mentions Monica, archive link too. So again, flat out lies about Monica not being involved in those. She's in the first publication. So good job. Good job lying to the appeals court. Hope it doesn't come back to bite you. Perception Check says the only personal experience that Toye has is that he wanted to assault Vic for walking too close to Monica, which may or may not have happened. Look, Perception Check. You are blessed in the ability to not have to deal with this. But for Monica, it's harder. Any men in a tri-state area are walking close to Monica. Okay? I'm just saying. If you're in the tri-state area, you're walking close to Monica Rial. So, I know you don't have to deal with this at all, but Monica does. And it's tough out there for them big hands. That's all I'm saying. Mignana had a poor reputation in history of convention bans long before Rial and Toye tweeted or retweeted anything. This assumes facts, not in evidence. This is actually a false statement of fact. Again, they have not produced a single ban. Not one. No bans have ever been shown. Mignana contends that Rial and Toye's online comments cost him several convention contracts and harmed his reputation, saying that due to Appellee's conduct, Mignana suffered damage to his reputation. Although Mignana never identifies those contracts or specifies how, they're identified in the pleadings. All of those contracts are listed. By the way, every single one of them are listed, and that's written out in the pleadings that those are contracted appearances. Again, this is a fact question. He said that he had a contract for those appearances. He said that he did, either oral or written. He doesn't have to actually produce the actual contract. Chup's laziness knows no bounds, but it's in the pleadings that those are contracted appearances. Show me a contract. I don't have to show you the contract. He has contracts with these conventions. Well, what else does he have? What the fuck do you mean, what else does he have? Contracts with those appearances. They're all there. They're all there. Mignana contends that Rial and Toye, or specifies how his reputation was damaged. He was fired from them. It's actually also in the pleadings. Again, this is a lie. These are in the pleadings with tweets associated to the same days. And if you don't think he was fired for those tweets, that's a fact question. The evidence overwhelmingly contradicts this laughable proposition. The only laughable proposition is when Ron asked Monica to marry him. Nicholas, Andrew Bin says, Nicholas, your mastery of fat jokes brings me mirth. As As an initial matter, the negative press, as well as several affidavits, show that Mignogna had a poor reputation long before Real Artoya's tweets were posted online. Doesn't matter. By the way, again, this doesn't matter. These are fact questions. How much could we have damaged his reputation if it was already damaged? Fact question. Fact question, not a TCPA question. He's alleged the damage. It's in the pleading. That's evidence. This tweet, this damage, clear and specific. Matt Field says, from sources familiar with the matter, Ron not only beats women, children, and beloved family pets with large remote controls, he massages Monica's prostate with the exact same remote. Must be 100% factual, right? Must be. Must be. Han Leia tweeting, and I've been screaming about this since 2010, and no one cared. And she hasn't actually been screaming about that since 2010. She hasn't. That's the amazing thing. In fact, 16 individuals submitted affidavits attached to the anti-slap motion, showing that Mignogna already had a bad reputation with women and convention staff. Again, by the way, which he specifically denies in his own affidavit / unsworn declaration that they cannot have come in. But this matter was not discussed at the trial court level and was seen as a sexual predator dating back to 2003. By who? Mignogna states falsely in his brief that before the cancellations listed in this brief, Vic never had a convention cancel his appearance. Again, raising a fact question. Again, raising a fact question. The evidence in the record, however, tells a different story. In reality, Mignogna has been banned and or asked not to come back to conventions several times because of his conduct. Says who? Says Jennifer the psychopathic cunt? Who falsely alleges in her affidavit that she's of sound mind to make a sworn statement? That one? All before Real Antoya's tweets in late January 2019. For example, Mignogna was banned from Takoshokan. Yep, from Jennifer Lynn Cunt. He wasn't banned from Takoshokan starting in 2005. Here's a fact question. And after a brief return, was banned again in 2008 after being caught in a hotel room with an underage female. Also false. Affidavit of Lynn Hunt. These are fact questions that must be resolved in favor of Vic for the purposes of TCPA. They're raising tons of fact questions. So you had an affiant lie. I mean, she might not know it's a lie because she's fucking retarded, but actually cannot substantiate this at all. And there's evidence of her shrieking about him being invited back when she said he was banned. Oh my God. And she's a pedophile. There's that problem too. $124/82. I'm now significantly healthier than I was earlier today. Thanks. Oh no. There. Likewise, the Anime Central Convention received complaints about Mignogna's behavior and banned him from that convention in 2005. KawaiiCon in Hawaii and Anime Weekend in Atlanta banning Mignogna from those conventions. I would wager these are untrue as well. These are false. Again, and these are from Faisal Ahmed's and Wendy Falba's affidavits. Vic has specifically denied these in his unsworn declaration, which is, again, why they can't have this in. Yeah, not, again, not true. He went to these conventions after that. So, fantastic. Appellees timely file their anti-slap motion to dismiss, and Mignogna botches the response. Following an agreed delay so the parties could conduct discovery, Rial and Toye filed their anti-SLAPP motion on July 19th, 2019, and supplemented on July 30th, 2019. On August 6th, 2019, the parties filed a Rule 11 agreement continuing the hearing to September 6th to give Manana more time to respond, setting a briefing schedule for the TCPA hearing. Scheduling agreement, continued hearing, and setting deadline to respond to anti-SLAPP motion to August 30th. A amended pleading is not a response to a TCPA motion. Just isn't. Despite receiving an extension, Mignogna filed his response late, along with a motion for leave to file the untimely response, which the trial court granted. The untimely response was still rife with missing citations, incomplete arguments, and other errors. More importantly, the untimely response was based on sham affidavits signed by Mignogna, Huber, and Slatosh, which were not executed in the physical presence of the notary, who also happened to be Mignogna's lead counsel, Ty Beard. To avoid the significant consequences involved with 3 fraudulent notarizations, Mignogna's counsel filed a notice with the trial court withdrawing the affidavits from the trial court's consideration. Therefore, the 13 references in appellant's brief to statements allegedly made by appellees to Slatosh are improper because that evidence was withdrawn and excluded from the trial court. It was also resubmitted to the trial court. After filing his response late and withdrawing the affidavits, Mignogna shamelessly tried to circumvent the scheduling agreement by filing an untimely and improper second amended petition 3 days before the TCPA hearing, attaching inadmissible declarations. Why are they inadmissible? This is an interesting question. Why are they inadmissible? Those aren't inadmissible. Exhibits and arguments. Okay. In asking the trial court to consider this improper pleading as evidence to defeat the anti-SLAPP motion. Mignogna also then filed a supplement to his second amended petition, making another attempt to introduce new late filed evidence. Mignogna's original and first amended petitions included 51 and 55 paragraphs respectively. His second amended petition included 89 paragraphs and attached brand new exhibits A through Q, including nearly identical declarations signed by the same three witnesses who signed the fraudulent affidavits. Nearly identical declarations. Thank you for making that argument yet again. Nearly identical declarations that you cannot have in. You responded to in arguments Chup said he would consider, but didn't allow the declarations in. They're again telling the court that there is evidence that was given to the court that is not before, or that was not before the court when it made the decision, because it chose not to read them. Not that it struck them. No ruling on it. Just that they didn't consider them. So now we have a question for the appeals court to go ahead and answer. Appellees, together with Markey, filed a joint response and cross motion to strike. Responded to the TCPA motions to, he didn't rule on this motion to strike. Responded to the TCPA motions to dismiss. Second amended petition. They responded to the second amended petition. Oh no, to strike the response to the TCPA motions to dismiss, second amended petition, and deny Mignogna's motion for leave to file late responses to the TCPA motions to dismiss. Interestingly, they did not secure a strike of any of these things. Chup doesn't strike them. Doesn't rule on this motion. That's a problem for them. It's their job to secure a ruling on it, and they didn't get it. Appellees argued that the late filing and late submission of evidence beyond the agreed upon 30th deadline was prejudicial and constituted unfair surprise. Notice this. It excluded them. Doesn't strike them. Doesn't make a ruling on it. It's not clear and unambiguous. So the court can make a ruling from the bench. If it's clear and unambiguous, they can do that. They can make a ruling that's clear and unambiguous. Oh, shit. I just thought of something. Hold on. Hold on. Where are we? Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment to read this. And while I read this... Three motions to dismiss are granted in full. It Okay, that's not the one I'm looking for. I gotta find, I believe there is a... Okay, hold on. I need the final order. Real quick. It was on November 21st, right? Just a second, guys. This, I might have just thought of something very, very important. So hold on one moment. Holy shit. Okay. Okay, y'all. Stick with me on this. Stick with me on this, all right? I just thought of something. Here's the final judgment, okay? Final judgment. This is a dismissal order, by the way. Here's the last thing. Therefore, the court grants TCPA motions. Plaintiff Victor Mignana's claims against defendants Funimation, Marquis, Real, and Toei are thus dismissed with prejudice. Court retains jurisdiction so the defendants may submit evidence and briefing in support of an award of attorney's fees, costs, and other expenses incurred in defending the action, and appropriate sanction. Defendants shall file their request for fees, costs, expenses, and appropriate sanctions within 30 days of this order. Right? Now, I don't believe we have any I'm going to check for motions here. Oh, damn it. I can't, it's not a searchable document. But I don't think they discuss the motions to strike in any way in this document, okay? This is important. Those motions to strike, right? Because here's what they're saying. They made a joint response cross motion to strike, response to TCPA motions to dismiss, second amended petition, and deny Mignana's motion for leave to file his late response. Now here, they go through or finds by a preponderance of the evidence that Mignana is a public figure. Additionally, the court finds plaintiffs failed to establish by clear and specific evidence prima facie case. They talk about those, I believe. Maybe they don't even talk about them in this order. Anyway, let me get to the main point because I'm wasting time. Here's the final judgment. Let's read this conclusion. Okay? It's further ordered that all costs of court be taxed against plaintiff Victor Mignana. It is further ordered that all writs and processes necessary for enforcement of collection of this judgment or the costs of the court may issue as are necessary. This is interesting, isn't it? All other relief requested and not expressly granted herein is hereby denied. This judgment finally disposes of all parties and all claims and is appealable. All other relief requested and not expressly granted herein is hereby denied. That means motions to strike that are pending are denied. Judge Chupp never ruled on these motions to strike. Ever. Never actually ruled on them. He refused to consider. That's not ruling on the motion to strike. And they filed a motion for reconsideration and clarification because he didn't ever rule on them. But he did, though, right here. All other relief requested not expressly granted herein is hereby denied. This is a final ruling. All relief, including the striking of evidence. Oh, that's pretty funny. Oh, okay. So that's going to raise a significant issue for the court. Hold on, I got to take my note here. Oh, that's funny. That could screw him. I don't know. We'll have to see. Because if he didn't strike any of that, then the second amended petition, as a matter of law, is the operative petition, and those unsworn declarations and all of that other evidence must be included. He never ruled on it outside of there. He didn't rule on it at the trial court or at the court hearing. Oh boy. Oh my God. That's pretty bad. Okay. I was talking too much. Just a second. These things are sensitive. Ron Toye. $154 over 85. Apparently me laughing and being happy raises my systolic blood pressure. Here you go. Oh boy. All right. Back to here. Okay. Trial court excluded the second amended petition, withdrawn affidavits, granted the hold on 1 second. I have to. This is important. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I gotta write notes down while I'm thinking of them. Okay. The trial court excluded the second amended petition, withdrawn affidavits, granted the anti-SLAPP motion, and awarded fees. And the anti-SLAPP motion was heard on September 6th, and on October 4th, Trial court properly dismissed all claims. The dismissal order states that the trial court did not consider the 3 withdrawn affidavits and did not consider the late filed evidence attached to the 2AP because the evidence was untimely and prejudicial in violation of the parties' scheduling agreement. The trial court then ordered appellees to submit evidence of their attorneys' fees, costs, expenses, and request for sanctions within 30 days of entry of the dismissal order. Appellees filed the Real Toye fees motion on November 4th, seeking attorneys' fees and sanctions arising out of Mignana's conduct, leading up to the September 6th TCPA hearing. On November 21st, the court conducted an evidentiary hearing during which appellees' counsel testified as to reasonable and necessary attorneys' fees totaling $282,953.80. Mignana offered no expert testimony and did not provide the court with alternative figures as to the reasonable hourly rate or reasonable amount of time that would go into an alternative lodestar analysis, showing that Mignana did not call any witnesses or present any evidence to contradict appellee's fee calculation. Isn't it embarrassing then that your expert, Jay Sean Lemoyne, couldn't convince Chup, who's been on your side for quite a while? Jay Sean's expert testimony only got him about a third of his fees because he's so fucking brilliant. I'm so good at testifying that I only was able to justify a third of my fees. Oh boy. Morty J says, so what the BPM is basically saying is that you're always angry. Do I need to get you some gay stretchy purple shorts before you start to turn green? Oh no. No. The trial court entered final judgment on November 25th, awarding attorneys' fees and sanctions to Real and Toye. The trial court, however, improperly awarded the same amount of fees. This is a lie. $50,000 each of Real, Toye, Markey, and Funimation without properly accounting for the differences in time and labor expended. That's not true. That's not true. He actually expressly accounts for it on the record. He commends Sam for doing it so inexpensively. And he asked your expert why he wasn't able to do it for anywhere near as much money. And then he awarded you over twice as much. He literally did exactly the opposite of this. Following table identifies the amount sought and awarded by the court. There we go. So they admit that they were wrong in their own thing. Good job, guys. Summary of argument. Oh my God. We're not even to the actual argument yet, and I'm going to die. Let me read the summary of argument. We're going to wrap up. We will pick this up tomorrow. Now, I know many of you out there are wondering about the rest of the Funimation petition. I did not boomer it. I wanted this to be the Friday show. Reading this document. We will come back to the Funimation document and we will finish this document as well. The next time I won't have Ty taking up the first hour. We just really wanted to make sure that people didn't get misled in any way by the rule changes on that document. Okay, so I'm going to read the summary of argument section. We'll do super chats, wrap up the show for tonight. Tomorrow night there will be a show. It will be the resumption of either Funimation's brief or this one. We will get through them all. We're not going to leave them half done. Although, interestingly, since they're over the word count, half done might be all they get. So we'll see. We'll see. Summary of argument. Mignana's brief. There goes Lemoyne. Now we know Lemoyne's writing because he's thinking about Mignana's briefs. Suffers from the same defects and misleading statements as his briefing below, namely the improper attempt to dump a series of string cites from 10 volumes of the clerk's record and supplements. 10 volumes of the clerk. I think there's only 5 volumes of the clerk's records. And supplements, hoping that this court will do his job for him. Well, I mean, they're specifically referencing the portions that are relevant. The fact is that the evidence is all over. The evidence that they say doesn't exist is actually rife in the court record. It's all there. That's the funny part. It's here, 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 and here, by the way. They say we didn't do this, but it's here, 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 and here. Oh, wait, we got to do the GoFundMe real quick. We're up at $277,497. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Christopher French, Kuro No-chan, Cress Holmes, Eris Equinox, Jason Voorhees, Anonymous, Joe Stonebreaker, a very manly name, and then back to Scott Sommer. Thank you guys for your donations. Highly, highly appreciated as always. I know that Corona-chan is making times tough for some people. So again, every dollar is even more appreciated than otherwise would be. I know times are tight. And again, I will personally plead, do not in any way put yourself in financial danger ever for the sake of my show or for the sake of the GoFundMe. Don't, please. If times are tight and you need that money because you've been laid off or something like that, please, please, please look out for yourself first. Always. Always. Okay. Back to this. Hoping that this court will do his job for him. Shelton versus Sargent. Court has no obligation to search its file to support a litigant's arguments. They don't have to search the file. It's in the record and they're citing to the record. Mignogna even attempts to bring entirely new allegations and arguments, again attempting to belatedly correct his prior mistakes. Mignogna is a public figure whose lawsuit and harassing public relations campaign, he doesn't have a PR campaign. You idiots have said over and over that he should have had a PR campaign. He doesn't have one. It'd be nice. PR campaigns are expensive. Wouldn't that be nice if he had a PR campaign? That'd be great. Unfortunately, he had to pay a lawsuit to actually try and get back the damages caused by a couple of chucklefuck yahoos lying about him. PR campaign would have been great. Much better use of the money. If only he hadn't had his career in life ruined, he could have done a PR campaign. Is a vengeful assault on Rial and Toye's right of association and free speech to comment on a matter of public concern, to silence appellees. Mignogna unleashed a horde, of online supporters to publicly harass and intimidate anyone who spoke up. No, they did that on their own because, hey, let me get close to y'all. Hey, Ron. Hey, Monica. Everybody outside of your circle of friends fucking hates you 'cause you are horrible people. Nobody likes you because you're fucking scum of the earth. That's not Vic. That's organic, baby. They don't like liars. People don't like liars. And that's all you got. I'm sorry that people don't like you, but they don't. I can't wait for episode 10, guys. I can't wait for episode 10. When you see what makes Ron so mad. Oh, God, I can't wait. It's so funny. This isn't about likes. Isn't it, Ron? It's always about likes. It's always about likes, Ron. Because if it weren't for the likes, you wouldn't care. But they don't like you. Nobody likes you. You just... You're just a scumbag. And the whole world knows it because you beat women and threaten to murder dogs and children like people in fucking federal prisons do. Oh yeah. You're winning Nobel Peace Prizes there, buddy. Everybody's on your side. Oh my God. Whew. To silence appellees. Mignon unleashed a horde of online supporters to publicly harass and intimidate anyone who spoke up. When that failed, did it fail? Did that fail? Like, again, people did this organically because they don't believe you and they never will. It's the internet, Ron. And the internet is telling you the percentages. You and Monica get no interaction with people, and some random person on Twitter gets 1,000 likes for basically calling you a fat liar. You've got a real image issue. That's a damn shame. But it did work. It didn't fail. Monica called Homeland Security over tweets. Homeland Security. I mean, I know she's as big as a building, Ron, but no one was trying to drive an explosive truck into her. Mignona filed the underlying lawsuit funded by his war chest. Is it his? I mean, I guess, kinda. Mignona filed this underlying lawsuit for no other reason than to intimidate appellees. I mean, well, there is the whole point where they're asking for relief from damages. Silence speech and send a message to anyone who dared stand up against him. Anyone? Didn't you guys complain that he didn't sue enough people? That he should have sued the entire earth? Wasn't that part of your literal argument? That he didn't sue Mars Girl? He didn't sue Han Leia? That he didn't sue IO9 and Gizmodo? I mean, ignoring the jurisdictional nightmare that all of that is. That was your actual argument, that he didn't sue everybody else. No, he targeted the people who did the damage. And you know it. Mignona's pleadings, together with the evidence properly before the trial court, proved by a preponderance of the evidence that the claims relate to or are based on appellees' protected communications and associations. Once appellees met their burden to show that the TCPA applies, Mignona failed to present clear and specific evidence sufficient to meet his need of each element of each of his claims. Yeah, notice it doesn't actually go through that analysis because Chup doesn't know how to do an analysis at all. Trial court also properly excluded certain evidence. Nope. Refused to consider is different than excluding. That Mignona dishonestly tried to slip into the proceeding by an untimely and prejudicial second amended petition. Should have secured a ruling on that, Jay Sean, but you didn't. Well, I mean, Chup gave you a ruling, as I discovered now. Now, Awig, I see that you said you sent me that he dismissed all motions before. You probably did. I wasn't thinking about it in the way that I needed to be thinking about it. So if you did that, I believe you. I'm not saying if as if I don't believe you. I believe you did, but thank you. Kid Thrival says that made me almost just as excited as a 5-year-old me was watching a young Sean Austin and the old fell dog solving One-Eyed Willie's final puzzle in the theater in 1985. Lemoyne Sloth now back to Mr. Lopper and booby traps. Well, don't get too excited. The appeals court has to go ahead and still accept that argument. They haven't done so yet. Mignona continues to rely on objectionable evidence before this court. Objectionable, but fails to meet his burden of proof. In his court brief to this court, Mignona unabashedly cites the withdrawn affidavits as evidence. I think he cites the unsworn declarations without explaining that he withdrew them and the trial court correctly excluded them from consideration at Mignona's urging. Actually, the trial court said that he couldn't exclude them and then excluded them later, which is weird. Even if Mignona had presented clear and specific evidence, and even if this court found that Judge Chup abused his discretion in excluding Mignona's untimely and prejudicial evidence. Actually, funny thing, he didn't exclude it. That's going to be an issue. Appellees can rest on several affirmative defenses to defeat the claims. Well, too bad those weren't considered by the trial court. Accordingly, the anti-slat motion was properly granted in its entirety, but not based on the affirmative defenses. None of the affirmative defenses were even considered by Chup. In fact, if I remember, I don't want to hear about this. Get to the argument. He so shot down Lemoyne's AIDS-riddled voice. He so didn't want to hear that scumbag talk that he told him to get on with it. Literally get on with it, because this was nonsense. He didn't care about the affirmative defenses. Not at all. Accordingly, the anti-SLAPP motion was properly granted. In accordance with the TCPA, appellees are entitled to the full amount of reasonable fees for successfully defending against the underlying action. November 25th, final judgment properly awards appellees their attorney's fees, but improperly awards the same amount of fees to Rial and Toye. Nope, it's $100,000, not $50,000 each. It's not $50,000 each at all. It is $100,000 as joint tenants. Or no, tenants in common, I believe. Because joint tenancy, let me give you a little property law explanation here. A joint tenancy would be full ownership for each of the parties, right? So if you and I went to a store and we shared money to buy a candy bar, we bought it as joint tenants, we would each own 100% of the candy bar. So that would be, if I ate the full candy bar, that'd be okay. If you ate the full candy bar, also okay. If we each ate half or 75-25, that's joint tenancy. Tenants in common is different. Tenants in common would be a presumed right to half of each thing. However, that presumption is rebuttable by other evidence of a pre-existing agreement or a subsequent agreement. Tenants in common can own any share that they want. And you can argue the rebuttable presumption is the proportional contribution of money to it. So if you have two people being awarded $100,000 as tenants in common, and this practically doesn't matter, but legally is really important. And I get a chance to explain something that's more common than you might think. If you commit $33 to a lawsuit and I commit $67 to a lawsuit, there's a rebuttable presumption that I'm entitled to 2/3 of a tenants in common award and you are entitled to 1/3. Or it's a rebut to the presumption of equal ownership that I'm entitled to 2/3 and you're entitled to 1/3. Unless we show that there's some other skill set to offset the proportional contributions of money. For example, so this is a legally and factually deficient statement. He didn't actually award Rial and Toye $50,000 each. He awarded them $100,000 as tenants in common without knowledge or consideration of the ownership rights of each party. That would be up to them. And technically, either one could enact their rights to a higher percentage by suing the other in court. Judge Chupp isn't doing anything. He's not making a statement about the 50-50 ownership. He's just saying you both get $100,000 and it's up to them to resolve how that $100,000 is split. That's an important distinction here because they submitted a response as one party, not as two, and Chupp awarded them double the amount of the other two individual entities. Think of it as Rial and Toye Inc. co-owning an entity, or Rial and Toye co-owning an entity of Rial and Toye Inc., which owns the rights to $100,000. There are three entities in this lawsuit, according to Judge Chupp's ruling: $100,000 to Rial and Toye Inc., $100,000 or $50,000 to Funimation, and $137.50 to Markey. This is a factual and material misrepresentation of the award. And I would argue that in response to the appellate brief or their cross appeal, it should be argued as such, because never in this lawsuit have they separated out their liability, their arguments, or their defenses, or their costs, or anything else. They are treated singularly throughout this lawsuit without objection and without response or questions about the underlying conflicts of interest that would accompany them being jointly represented by the same law firm. We talked about this a long time ago. And I know this is deep into the legal weeds, but if I were responding to this cross appeal, I would spend a little bit of time, because they're making a big deal out of it, addressing the fact that they were properly treated as a single entity and their award treats them as a single entity and is therefore double Funimation's and more than double of Markey's award in response to their significantly higher billed rates. thereby addressing all of the concerns that they issued. They said that CHUP didn't consider the expertise, the rates, and all of that stuff, and the differences in work done for all the parties, but he actually did and awarded more to them. They're saying $50,000 each. That's not in the order. Sorry, I'm rehashing, but it's important. Despite evidence supporting the full 282,953.80, Mignogna deposed only Rial and Toye, attached hundreds of communications that required a costly response, and deliberately launched a strategy of creating nuisance filings against Rial and Toye to increase their litigation expenses. Actually, you guys did that. That was y'all. Mignogna's abuse of the court, along with his legion of followers, directed by Mignogna's friend and financier, internet troll. Oh, giving me the vapors. Oh my. I do declare, I have upgraded my echelon to troll status. Troll status. Well, I'm going to call that a GoFundMe reference. Again, we have Mignogna's GoFundMe. Oh my goodness, now up at $277,557. Thank you to Michael S. Cybertaz, Stefan, Spirit Jr., Christopher French. Oh wait, I read those. Thank you guys for your donations. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Required Rial and Toye to expend more time and money to respond to his bad faith strategy. No bad faith has been alleged, argued, or granted. Well, alleged. Never argued or granted. Appellee's counsel had to spend considerably more time and money defending against the lawsuit than the other parties. Nope. They actually didn't. They chose to. They chose to inflate their fee filings with a bunch of bullshit. That's their choice. And that was their choice of expending and duplicating a bunch of work while they're sitting there giving rim jobs to each other. The hard part of Lemoyne giving a rim job is he has to hold his breath for more than 10 seconds. But more importantly, the uncontroverted evidence presented in Rial and Toye's fee motion for fees support a full award. Therefore, it was controverted actually by the cross-examination of Lemoyne. Therefore, the trial court should have awarded defendants their full fee amount. Arguments and authorities. I'm not going to read the arguments and authorities. This is the full section, which will go on for several more pages here. It keeps going. Keeps going. There we go. 63 pages before their appendix. Good job. Oh, they included the final judgment in their appendix. Hopefully they paid attention to that line. Let's see. Did not consider the withdrawn affidavits. Additionally filed second amended petition, which added, let's see, which added additional evidence that was not included in the TCPA motion to dismiss. Nothing in the TCPA statutes prohibits claimants. Let's see. Accordingly, the court did not consider evidence. Oh, yeah. So he cites this thing, forgets to close his quote like a boomer. I can't forget that. Accordingly, the court did not consider evidence submitted after the agreed upon deadline in the Rule 11 agreement, with the exception of plaintiff's response to defendant's TCPA motion to dismiss without the withdrawn affidavits that was deemed timely filed by this order. So again, the court did not consider is not the same as striking the evidence or ruling it as untimely. So there it is. There it is. That's going to be interesting. But anyway, that's all in the it's all in the text. Oh, and they attached the TCPA statute. That's good. As if the court doesn't actually know the TCPA statute or have the ability to access it. Good job, guys. All right. All right. We're going to read the super chats and justice chats and wrap up the stream. we're going to do that. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I will go over onto Twitch for a little bit. And we will see how that goes. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you tomorrow on YouTube. If you don't come to Twitch, I'll see you on YouTube tomorrow. We'll either pick this one up or Funimation's up. Just stay tuned to Twitter for that announcement. That'll be fun. So, all right. Let me go to Justice Chats first. Super Chats. Pretzelman 718 says, it would be hilarious. Going over the word count ended up being the defendant's downfall. The case was dismissed all on a technicality. Being brought back on one would be poetic justice. Oh, wouldn't it? Oh, wouldn't it be poetic? Tess Not on Holiday says, Ty, my town has a drive-through place and I'm only 30 or 40 minutes out of Abilene. They normally serve iced alcoholic drinks and slushies, so they're closed during the winter and parts of the spring. They're about to open up again before the Kung Flu happened. No. Gamerhands Jr. Inc. says, even Nick, Mr. Beard, evening, I think he means. Nick, Mr. Beard, it's me again. I won't be around in a bit. I think you're still here, aren't you? You're still here, you liar. Just kidding, buddy. 2 hours ago. I won't be around in a bit. Got to do something that was planned since 2016. Here's something for the GoFundMe. Also to chat, who's ready to do MoRon better than the Nam? Press 1 for yes. Until then, good night, Vietnam. Dismiss. Good night, buddy. Where Tiger Ray says, I'm an independent contractor. Can I really get a loan from the PPP and invest it into some sort of fund that will get a good return? I'm puzzled on what I'm allowed to do with the money. Where Tiger Ray, according to the statute, the forgiveness provisions of the statute and the recommended thing in the regulations, the interim rule, which you can read on SBA.gov, state that as long as the funds, the majority of the funds, I think Ty said it was 75% or more, are paid to payroll as defined in the statute, which includes your income as an independent contractor. If you pay it to payroll, which means just taking the income for yourself, it'll be forgiven. So yes. Can I really get a loan from the PPP and invest it into some sort of fund that will get a good return? I'm puzzled on what I'm allowed to do with the money. Take it. It's yours. It's your paycheck. That's what they're saying. It's your paycheck. They will not give your employer or your other contracting party money for your paycheck. So you get to take it as an independent contractor. Can you also give a recap of what you discussed with Ty in a short video? Yeah. I think that I will be working on that for Monday so that it hits hopefully when the banks start actually rolling out the program full. Michael Rule says, what is at a peak is certain to decline. He who shows his hand will certainly be defeated. He who can prevail in battle by taking advantage of his enemy's doubts is invincible. KO of the Three Kingdoms from Luo Guanzong. I don't know how to pronounce Chinese. Jay said, 1, Toye was in the comment section of a few articles. Ron was asked about it in Depot, about the IO9. Ron only had one experience when he assumed a hug was creepy in Depot. Rial isn't a singular, she is a collective. Oh, rip. Bad Dragonite says, drinking and raging is your naturally healthy state. Sure you aren't Irish? No, I'm not sure at all. Gamer Jr. Inc. says, I've gone sleepless again because I'm thinking about the parade we're going to have if we win this shit. Also to chat, press 1 if we won this battle. Also, Nick, go sneak that shit. Okay. And then he also says, okay, last one because it's my last 5. Take it and don't get high blood pressure, okay? My blood pressure is normally fine as long as I'm pissed off. Also to chat, spam some money emotes and please buy Princess Beard's book, please. With that, hey, yo, Nick, go sneak that shit. I don't know what that means. Mr. T says in Lemoyne voice, I curse Ron's father for not being man enough to pull out and finish in a trash can instead of cursing the world with a whiny, violent, pencil-dicked, lying dipshit. If he didn't know how to suck dick, he'd be useless. Hashtag Lemonhead. Hashtag Ron swallows. Gross. Kay says, I like Ty, but I'll be real. He's got to lead this team perfectly in appeals. I'm ashamed to admit it, but the hearing where Chup threw everything out really wounded me. No, not just you. Not just you, Kay. The thought of Vic losing makes me sick to my stomach, and I'd say it's a 50% chance. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Tug's wife Lola says, you hear about the stuff my husband, that umbrella guy, and I have been up to. Unrelated, but can I get a pic of your Johnson? Come on. Come on now. I'm good with Tug, and that's up to them to work out. Mario Carter 13 says Monica needs extra work. There's always forklifting. Paradox Effect, thank you for sending a rainbow. Ryan Gracie says, hey, I made it on time. Unfortunately, Nick hasn't. Look, listen. S. Cybertaz is late in Beto. Romeo Garbo, thank you for the contribution. Justin Watkins says, I respect the beard. I have the Fear the Beard t-shirt on right now. You can't really see it. SJ Jar Jar Binks says, asking Rick or Ty, do you think when all these events eventually sort themselves out, that states will just claim sovereign immunity just to wipe out most lawsuits incoming? The states can do that. You can sue various people in their individual capacity, but you got to show damages. So if they just inconvenience you by making you stay at home and you weren't actually arrested or charged, it's going to be harder. And most people will just deal with it. Cedarwood says, should you just push the show to 10:06? You're becoming as late and gay as John Waters. Listen, I'll tell you guys why. Here's the real reason. This is real talk. I've been cherishing my evenings with Lady Rackets. We were watching The Wire, and we leave ample time to watch the show. But we have children who are supposed to be in bed, who are stirred up and wound up from cabin fever, coming and interrupting the show so many times that I'm always like running downstairs. So, I'm trying. I'm legitimately trying to be here by 11. Also, it was Ty's fault after it was my fault for needing to set something up right before we went on. But me was 10:05, Ty was 10:07. Leon W says, I know you've had a lot of prayer requests, but wife's dad with brain cancer went to ICU and I lost job in the same hour today. Can't see him due to lockdown. I want to be strong for her. She's in pieces. Well, be strong for her. That's you. That's on you. I'll pray for your dad for sure. You be strong for her. That's your job, man. Fluffy Ted says, my paycheck legal complaint turned into FLSA suit with 12 plus people and a breach of a cease and desist by defendant in under 24 hours. Hope your day is more sane. Hashtag SHTF. Good luck. Snark Mark says, JD Black Label is swill, but thoughts on Gentleman Jack, Single Barrel, Silver, Select, etc. I think I had the Gentleman Jack and that was okay. I don't think I've had Single Barrel or Silver Select. John Taylor says, girl voice. Hello, Jay Sean. My name's Corona-chan. Nice to meet you. Wink later. To Corona-chan. Corona-chan says, kiss me, T. Greg. You con slut. The Atomisk says, Percy and Screech rules lawyer D&D stream when? Oh, God. Get a bunch of lawyers playing D&D. Your first encounter will take 6 years. Brunu says, I propose a challenge as we've beaten Maddox and Twitch followers. Let's beat him in book sales as well. That would be great. Azure Kaizen says, gotta head out soon for OTR trucking work. Gonna be busy for weeks at a time. Hopefully I can get some loads nearby a con Vic is at and see everyone. That'd be great too. Not sure how many cons are gonna be happening right now. Parochial Joe says, any plans for a show with the quartering? Failing comic books industry as well as Mike Wellman's threats to EVS could make for an interesting topic. I'd love to do a show with the quartering. I'd love to do a show with the quartering. We've talked about doing one for a long time. I think it'd be great. We both have an affinity for the liquor, I believe. Christopher French says, what are you drinking tonight? I was mixing between this Calumet Farm small batch bourbon and this Bareface Canadian whiskey, which is the most neutral tasting and neutral burning whiskey I've ever seen. Fantastic. It's really, really good. I can't, like, it's weird. It's so neutral You don't like crave it because there's not a super refreshing taste, but it's really enjoyable to drink. It just goes down. Skyheem says, will you throw Chaircoon under the bus if he gets you demonetized? He can be super lewd sometimes. I will always stand by Chaircoon until I get a new one. He says, while I'm donating, Nick, have you read Berserk? No. If you haven't read it or watched the movies, arguably one of the best manga ever written, even if it might never finish. I watched the Golden Arc, and I really, really enjoyed the Golden Arc trilogy. I want to watch the show. I know people are mad about the 3D animation stuff, but I think I want to watch the show anyways because I want to see what happens after. DCV Titan says, if you just run upstairs, then that would bring up blood pressure. Plus, you should wait 15 minutes between readings. Pro Hero All Might says, if you hear beeps, that's Nick's health bar at 1%. Chengiz Khan says, if the coof doesn't kill you, it'll be the stress from Moronica's incompetence. Joshua Heggie says, wait 20 minutes between taking readings or it's inaccurate. Okay. See, I don't know how waiting 20 minutes would make it. I'm not challenging you. I'm just saying, to me, it doesn't compute. Is my body adapting to the cuff? Because I don't think the machine is adapting to my body. That would be weird. I'm not sure why waiting 20 minutes is necessary. But other people are saying similar things, so I don't know. Lane 20 says, in case people need a morale boost, it is believed that corona gets less severe as it jumps from person to person. Like chain lightning. Afroman John says, I just want to know how he got a flatbed truck into a hotel room and what grade of toe straps he used to hold Monica down. Come on. Rage DMX 47. What? Friendly reminder that Monica is exceptional. Funimation thinks so. Malik Foxton says, funny thing about that, me being sent by Vic is I had no idea who the fook he was before the lawsuit, and I watched loads of anime. Who reads credits? God knows I don't. God knows I don't. Clumsy K says, it amazes me to what extent slanderers will accuse their victims of just which is perpetrated against them, describing themselves perfectly. Isn't it? It's the worst. Siren Jag says, at Rekieta Law, but will Law Twitter have a copy not marked unofficial copy? That would mean they did leak it for the purpose of defaming him. Is mine labeled unofficial copy? Whoops. Mine is also labeled unofficial copy. I don't know where that labeling comes from, frankly. Mine is also labeled it, but you know mine is from Research Texas because it's got the... Oh, here you go. Sorry, I'll show you. It's got the Research Texas, not a watermark, but kind of. Accepted. Here's the case number, Second Court of Appeals. But it does say unofficial copy down here. So, I wouldn't read too much into that. If it doesn't have this thing, then it's a leaked copy, if that makes sense. If it doesn't have the filing watermark from the court, then you know. So, hope that helps. John Albert says, hey, Nick, recently I had to bury my uncle Godfather. Luckily, before quarantine, it's still so surreal that he is gone. My cousin is taking it 1 out of 3. Really hard. He lost both parents within 5 years. They both around the age of 60. My uncle was a great man, had an impact on all my family. I know you took a shot for him, but if it wouldn't be too much trouble to ask if you can also pray for him and my cousin, of course. I will do that. Ixil Pierce, welcome to the paralegal level. Thank you very much for joining the channel. Onibushi Kabuto says, I'm off for 8 weeks due to a hoe called Corona. Here's something for you, home dog. Hey, thanks, pal. Derek Bambanek says, followed this almost since the start. In the fitting words of Jim Cummings as the OG Robotnik, there's something rotten in Topeka. John Albert says, and also thank you for the entertainment. Really helps me during this hard time. Man, I wish I would have seen all 4 of those. I would have read them earlier. I didn't realize they were all part of the same thing. Malik Foxton says, I got laid off too, but I worked 2 jobs. Second one is self-employed, and lucky for me, I make more with it than I did the job I got laid off from. Cheers. Hey, cheers to you, pal. Wesley de Aguayo says, fight me in Total War Warhammer 2, Nick, and also any more conversations. Oh, episode 10's coming, buddy. Bria Rose says, Rackets, you truly are an amazing guy. Well, thank you. Love your family and friends, but still have the amazing ability to burn true idiots where they stand. This is your true power. Hashtag over 9,000. Hashtag overpowered. Fighting's Chattin' One says, felt like giving $2. Hey, thanks. It's really appreciated. Mr. Schwagan says, since they dragged Vic's past into this, ex-wife's email, not only her email, but also completely unrelated to the lawsuit affidavit. Will they also be bringing Ron's abusive past stuff if possible when appeals go through? I don't know. It's possible if Ron gets another round of depositions, that more questions will be raised about beating women. Grandmaster Enclave says, as someone who's working this helps me stay awake. Thank you kindly, good sir. Oh, as someone who is working, this helps me stay awake. Thank you kindly, good sir. Hey, you're welcome, buddy. Come check out the Twitch stream if you need more help. You're doing the real work, man. Working night shift is tough. SJ Jar Jar Bing says, okay, I'm going to say this because Nick won't take Ron outside, put him in the Iron Maiden, cover him in poo, light him on fire, and sodomize him. Oh my God! No! And feed the rest to a third wave feminist, cough, Monica. No. I won't. Ugh. Oh! You're saying you're going to say this because I won't say this. Do these things. I thought you were saying you're going to say this because I won't do it. You're correct. I wouldn't do those things. That was disgusting. Whew. D. Megere says, damn lawyers with the Oxford comma rules. Always use an Oxford comma in legal documents. Always, always, always. Funimation, Marquee, Rial, and Toye is not the same as Funimation, Marquee, Rial, and Toye. Correct? As Cybertaz says, how much do I have to change the names of these F-wads in my Vic-inspired post-apocalyptic parable to avoid libel slander as I write and stream the story on YouTube? I'll be writing and streaming on my YouTube channel. Not a ton. You don't have to change them too much. You're not entitled. You don't have a right to your personality. You don't have a right to who you are. That's not an art that you created. You have a right to a character. If you create a character, that can be your copywritten work. In weird ways, if you act out that character, right, that could be your copywritten work, but copyrighted work. Just you, though, you don't really have a right to who you are and your intrinsic innate characteristics. Abiz Warrior says, finally made it to a stream. I'll be at 3 hours in for once. Watch you since the Vic Saga started. Found you from the Kill stream. Love you lots, Nick. Hey, thanks. I love when Kill stream people actually let me know that they don't hate me for being the Kill stream's Jew. Skaki Onsai says, where's the kaboom? Where's the kaboom? There's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Quote Marvin the Martian. More rage, please. Rage for the Rage Throne. S. Cybertaz says, check GoFundMe again and don't miss my $20 super chat question. I got it. I'll pull up the thing one more time. We're up at $277,645. Thank you to Ragnar Gunnarsson, Scroto Baggins, definitely a real name, Satka, and Michael S. Cybertaz Steffens. Thank you all for your donations. Oh, here. You can see them. Thank you guys for donating again. $277,645. Let's do one more blood pressure. $136/81. Proof that as the night goes on, the liquor sets in and the rage goes in. I guess I get healthier. So, still a little high on the systolic. But it is what it is. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Oh, wait. I got to read a couple justice chats. Mercenary X says, right now I need any prayers I can get for my sister because the second nurse at the clinic my sister works at got beer bug and tested positive, and right now my sister doesn't know if she's going to get infected. Pray for her and her kids. Anything, please help. Will do. Kay says, I'm afraid of drinking good liquor. I enjoy cheap-ass liquor, and I don't want to ruin cheap liquor for me. Then don't do it. Also, the 2016 Berserk anime skips the best arcs. Honestly, don't even bother. The movies even skip the best chapter. Bonfire of Dreams, A+ chapter. And then Bad Dragon Knight says, apparently Quartering is involved with the stuff between Tim Pool and his brother. Made a couple videos about it. Could be interesting to have any of them on to talk about it. Stay tuned with that. I've talked to both Tim and Chris. Whether or not I will have them on remains to be seen. In any case, there will be at least a short video about the situation. Whether interviews are also on the docket. Just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. Just know that it's, as with anything that involves a dispute between two people, it's more complicated than it looks. Asia Frazier says, give Toye the skunk treatment before it sprays us all. And then Rika TWC says, lol, MoRon gets stupider every day. Nick, you're an awesome dude. My channel does discussion videos. I'll soon be doing D&D stuff to shill me, Grift Master. Please, Rika TWC. Guys, check out Rika's channel. Reka TWC, Reka. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you guys over on Twitch. If not, I will see you tomorrow on YouTube or Twitter or wherever. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, be at peace. Peace. Become redder as he becomes better, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an art bag, a bow, more a love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now.